structures that were holding back a tidal wave of water that,
I'm live, by the way. Just
you know, killed a few dozen to a few hundred people, caused hundreds to thousands of dollars of damages.
It's a small price
Based.
to pay.
it's pretty
a
base.
small price. A small price to pay for some Ave Maria.
In all honesty, that scene was pretty awesome. Paul Dano just singing Ave Maria. It's like, man, that is what I'm here for. Also, hey, people who are watching us, we're live. Talk about the Batman, and if you look, like, I don't know if people on the call or have the stream open, but we have a special fucking overlay for the stream made by Neb to be like, yo, this is the Batman stream, and it is Batman themed. So yeah.
I'm not getting any notifications for the stupid stream.
I think we're unlisted.
We're not. I changed it already.
Okay.
We're not actually, Jeb.
Oh,
Yeah,
shut
it
the
is
fuck
public.
up, anonymous
It's
hackers.
so stupid.
Can't one of you post in the
No, I can't, because I'm not a mod.
Jeb, can you post
Link.
please the link in the public ECUM server?
That was a bad idea to ask me, but let's go.
Oh,
Your
what are you
server.
gonna do?
Looks very
Spam
cool.
people.
I'm worried. Yeah, I shouldn't have asked.
Ooh, I see it. We've got flying bats in the top right corner. That's
Mm.
cool.
Yeah, actually, that was
Ooh,
just
so-
a gift that I found and I added, but yeah, the rest was Neb.
We should probably address the sudden subscriber boost.
Oh yeah, I just
It's all thanks
wanted
to
to.
me.
Nah.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure, it's all thanks to Brit. But no, I just wait for more people to get on the stream and get in chat. Fuck
Jeb,
off,
you're so
Neb.
stupid. Why did you put the stream in the announcements channel, not the
What?
ECUM announcements channel?
Because I want to
You're
announce
not
to
right.
the
You're
entire
dense.
server.
You're
You're so
fucking.
dense.
I'm
yeah.
actually gonna
Oh,
fight you,
TV.
Brett.
And
I'm gonna fight you, anonymous hackers. I'm gonna hack into your mainframe.
there we are. Now it's fixed. Jesus Christ, you stupid Jeb. Fucking hell.
Yeah, you best be glad CV's in between us, because I'd give you the old knuckle sandwich.
Oh my God, CV is here. Okay.
I haven't even eaten today, so please don't mention food.
I'll one bag you.
Hold
Did
up.
you just say you'll pig me?
No, one bag, one bag. It's a British term for like knockout in one punch.
CV, you said you were gonna be late and you weren't late. I think that's false advertising.
Hello, everyone in chat.
The fuck?
Who the
Jeff
fuck
looks
Did
like
are you?
CV talk?
Are you a nonce?
Yeah, you were really low for some reason, CV, but don't worry. No, Jeb, I posted in the correct fucking server. The correct
You're
channel.
a nonce. I don't understand.
You
Okay.
like children.
I'm very...
Yeah,
Yeah, this is the first thing our new subs are gonna find. Thank you. Oh, Madvikid's in
glad
chat. Hey,
you admitted
Madvikid.
it. We
yeah.
found a new pedophile. Sky speaks through.
Jesus fucking... Hey,
That's a
people!
spike
This is
there.
the Batman stream.
Jeb
Oh, are we
pegged
live?
Shandy, definitely. Yeah, I
not
peg a lot of
consent to
people.
this lore.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
peg a lot of people. I
Why?
pegged
No.
I pegged Zod the other day.
Whoa.
I don't know why Zod, but I
Yeah.
pegged Zod.
Yeah,
apparently.
why
Alright.
Jeb, can you
To be
pick me
fair, he
next?
would be into it because he is the gayest of us all.
Have we
Exactly.
gone live?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're live. Unfortunately.
Okay.
CV, you sound autistic. What's going on?
I am not at home.
I was gonna say, you sound like you're outside.
I am outside.
Are you touching grass? Are you actually touching grass, CV?
He's like,
AirPod.
you hear me?
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, of course he's
Can you-
outside with profile pictures of a sunset.
Can he touch grass?
Oh, shut up.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
shut
are
up.
Can someone
television
explain to me what this door to darkness BS is? Because
I'll buy you.
I've seen it popping up a few times. I don't know what it means.
Door to darkness?
Yeah, doors to darkness. Strike, what is it?
Isn't it like a what is it?
Kingdom
What
Hearts.
is it?
Did someone translate what
Kingdom
Well,
darkness
that's-
is to English?
I think it's a Kingdom Hearts. I'm
Yeah,
certain it's
that-
Kingdom
that's it.
Hearts.
I
Almost
searched it and
like-
it came up with,
To be
like,
fair,
the
Kingdom
role
Hearts
playing.
makes sense.
I don't know.
It's Mickey. Mickey Mouse goes on about the door to darkness, and he sounds really edgy.
I mean, yeah, Mickey Mouse usually is very edgy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah. I've seen that GIF before. Okay.
I know my Kingdom Hearts lore.
That's good, Jeb.
It's
We-
not something to be
Poor
proud
bastard.
of, not gonna lie.
Listen here, you don't understand the deep lore of Kingdom Hearts, or why it's a monument to understand it.
Kingdom Hearts changed gaming.
It did, unironically, it
It
kind of
did,
did.
yeah.
Every
fuck-
fucking time.
Like,
We make a
If you look-
random ironic statement, you say, unironically, it did.
well, this is the thing. People
No,
just
But
go,
the thing,
"Oh,
but it's the same thing as people who go like, "Oh yeah, FNAF changed gaming." Is like, "Oh, that's hilarious." But yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's did change gaming. It doesn't make the game any better, but it did. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
it changed.
I mean, we became more autistic because of that, and I think
Well,
that's
yeah, I think
very
it's the
bad.
same thing as like Outlast, where it's like it had a huge impact by the videos that were made about it being like so popular, but that doesn't make the game any good, and the game's inspired by it being any good. So it's like had a huge influence, but it doesn't automatically make it good. That is my point.
Call of Duty, the one with Kevin Spacey, changed gaming.
He's in a
What
Call
you're
of Duty
looking
game?
at is Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, he's in Advanced Warfare. It was like everywhere
Yeah.
at the time. Fucking
Huh.
Kevin Spacey.
Wait,
Kevin.
Sky, did you not know that?
No, I don't know anything about COD, so
Come on.
What?
Wow, 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 look at this bitch. Look at this bitch.
my God.
Fucking
Jeff,
I
you're
will-
so
no shit.
stupid.
Call of
I
Duty's
will
fucking
360 no
French.
scope you on Rust.
Okay. I will beat your ass in Sonic Team Racing.
It's a Sonic game. Do you not know my PFP, you nonce?
To be fair, you walked right into that one.
Mario.
Jab keeps going cocky, keeps being cocky about Sonic Team Racing, but he's never played it before, so I'm gonna beat his ass.
That's how good I am.
If you have to demonstrate that you are a quote unquote Sonic fan by having a Sonic PFP, are you really a fan?
I,
really
I, I think it shows my dedication when my uni
I think it
lecturer.
shows your desperation more than anything else. Like,
No,
"Hey,
no.
guys, look at me. I'm a real Sonic fan. I have the PFP. I have the blue sneakers. I have what game did you guys play? Sonic 06?
I played Sonic 06 all the way through, and I got all the
Sonic
medals of
Team
Sonic.
Racing?
But-
Sonic 3 Warped?
Sonic 3 Warped.
Sonic
a-
2 A Crack in Time? Some shit like that?
That's Ratchet and Clank, but
Yeah.
Sonic 2 are cracking time. The thing is,
I
my
mean, they're
uni
both space rats who go really fast when they need to, so it's fine.
what?
Shandy,
Does
Rowan,
Ratchet
who
go
you-
fast when he
defended-
needs you? What?
defended the might of Jed.
Yeah, he does. I've played the Ratchet games. He goes burr fast when he needs to.
But isn't that kind of the case for any character that's on the move?
Yeah, it just
Yes.
seems like a character's just running. You know, I need to go fast. I'll run instead of walk. But anyway, the Batman stream, where we talk about Sonic for 2 hours. No, Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sonic 2's coming out soon, so I think we should derail it to that.
Why are we
think
talking
we
about the
should-
Batman?
So,
Sonic 2 is coming out.
We got a few things. We got a few things to say. Firstly, hey, all the new subs. We gained quite a few of them because of Madvocate shouting us out in his last video. So thank you very much, Madvocate. We appreciate
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Thank you, Madvocate. I got 4 subscribers from you throughout the course of the last day.
and I
I'm
got
nearly at
50.
200,
So
and I'm very
yeah,
happy.
I'm
Yeah.
not faithful, to be honest. Get fucked.
Yeah,
I'm
imagine-
kidding.
Yeah, but that's
They're
because
showing
you
it
get
to-
literally nothing out of it.
My
so-
channel's basically non-existent at this point, so my mind doesn't matter.
well, yeah.
Thank you anyway.
Sonic 4, A Link to the Past. Oh, she just got beat as a child. Zach confirms that.
Sure. But yeah, thanks, Madvocate. Your Shang-Chi video was great. Yeah, so people who want to check it out, go to Madvocate's channel and watch it because it is a really good fucking video. So yeah, and now we can talk about the main point of this fucking stream, which is the Batman. So, the Batman is a film that was released recently, and I would
Correct.
dare say most, well, all of us really liked it. for various reasons. And so we are going to talk about it in just like very free form. Not, I don't really have a structure for the stream. So yeah, would anyone like to start and talk about this film?
I think anonymous hackers should.
I
Yeah.
assume that's
Well,
Brit.
I guess a good way to start would be me mentioning some of the things I think the movie fixed from the trailers. So, for anyone who may or may not know, when the Batman trailers came out, I wasn't a big fan of two of them. I really liked the first one. I thought that it captured the noir elements of the movie pretty well, and it was a pretty interesting first experience. The second one I fucking despised because I thought that it focused too much on action. It was too too exciting. It clashed very much with how I thought the first trailer was, and it had a hallway scene which I thought was absolutely fucking horrendous, and that Jeb tried convincing me, no, Shandy, you're just retarded. I'm like, no, Jeb, you're fucking deaf and retarded, so shut up.
I can confirm that is exactly how the conversation went.
That's pretty
Yes.
much how the conversation went, yes. So, fast forward a few months, the movie comes out, I watch it, and I'm quite happy with it. It focused a lot on the noir elements that I thought the first trailer was showing off,
Mhm.
but it also had some very good action, so I thought,
Yeah.
you know what, the second trailer's maybe not so bad. But, most impressively, it fixed the hallway scene for me because I don't know if you guys felt this, but I felt like in the movie the pauses between gunfire were a tad bit longer.
Oh, they definitely
So
were
Batman
because
was
in the
Oh,
trailer
yeah.
they had to use shorter shots to first off match with the music and secondly because
Yeah.
it's a trailer.
so because of
Oh, hey CV, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Hey, hey CV.
hello.
Hello.
For all the new subs here, ECUM's usually not that chaotic, so yeah. Sorry about
is what
much
happens
of this.
Did you say Knuckles Chaotix? Oh,
What?
that's a good game.
This is what happens
Yeah.
when you have Brit on.
Yeah,
Knuckles
indeed.
sandwich.
Do you guys ever need a convincing that people like CV just need to cease existence? There you go.
No, I've been convinced of that ever
Yes.
since I first met him, to be honest.
Facts.
But anyway,
yeah, anyway.
Shandy was talking.
Yeah, so the movie fixed my issues with the hallway scene because my initial issues with the trailer is that I felt like Batman was lit up too much to the point that the people shooting at him could see where he was quite reliably, and thus they could aim for his mouth, which is the only non-armored piece of his body,
Mhm.
and it's a very direct line to his brain. So if they shoot his mouth, they could very easily kill him. I felt like that was fixed in the movie because there were longer pauses between each of the gunshots, so Batman spent more time hiding in darkness. So
It'd be
naturally,
harder to aim.
the moment it would be harder to aim, so he could take advantage of that distortion in eyesight, and he could function really well off of the panic of the soldiers that were busy shooting at him blindly. So I thought that was a pretty neat way to fix my biggest issue from the trailers.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I was
that's
wondering
my
what you meant
contribution to
when
the
you
stream.
said that it fixed the issue, because for me it was like it's the same as in the trailer, but now I get what you meant without making it longer. So yeah, that is a
Yeah.
good point. All right. Well, I guess I can talk a bit. I adore the soundtrack with all my heart. That shit is perfect in every single way. That is my favorite part of the film, like unironically. So
Fuck
fucking
you.
Fuck you, CV. Why are you telling me to fuck me? Yeah.
Are you
It's the only
autistic?
woman he'll ever meet.
Answer my question, CV. Why are you being so aggressive? Is it because I stole your point?
Yes.
That you also like the soundtrack more than anything else?
No.
Then why are you telling me to... Whatever. Anyway, the
I think we should talk
soundtrack
about
is really
Despicable
fucking
Me.
good. And I really, really love...
Despicable Me.
I really love the Catwoman theme. I think it's a theme that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, but it's really fucking good, and it is a lot better than the Hans Zimmer Catwoman theme, even though I really like that one too.
Wait.
So yeah,
She had a theme in The Dark Knight Rises?
yeah, of course she did.
Oh, it's been like years since I've seen it, so I can't be fucked to remember it. Plus, it's Dark Knight Rises, so who cares?
I mean, that is a good
I
point,
care.
but it's Hans Zimmer,
I
so
care.
still. But yeah, soundtrack's phenomenal, and I really love the way Something in the Way was used twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the beginning, kind of showing how, the something in the way of getting Batman to, I guess, realize his faults was Batman himself, and by the end, uh, you know, he's overcome that, but there's still something in the way of him fixing the city, which is, everything that Riddler did. So I think it was used, like, thematically really well. So I really like that. And it obviously fits the atmosphere really, really, really well. So I enjoyed that quite a bit.
There's also a bit of a more on the nose usage of that song in terms of him being in the way of criminals committing crimes. So you could always go with that kind of interpretation.
Yeah, but I think it's more tied to like Bruce being in his own way in the beginning of the film. Considering
But I mean, a
that's kind
song
of like
can
the point
have
as well.
multiple
Oh no, yeah.
meanings.
As someone who loves Legion, that show does that a lot of using multiple meanings for like same songs. For like using the song in one scene, and it has multiple meanings in terms of like character and shit like that. So yeah.
Strike just made me very sad.
Mm.
Something that I saw. A Nirvana song being used appropriately, cough
Oh,
cough
yeah.
Black Wombo. There are people that are unironically saying that Black Wombo
Why'd you
is
have to remind me of that?
I don't know why I had to remind you. It's probably because Strike reminded me, and Strike's a dumbass. But
No, it's...
Misery loves company. But yeah, no, the way it's just like in less than a year you can see the two different ways of using a Nirvana song and like high budget blockbuster, and how one like makes it completely fit the not only the tone of the film, but what Kurt Cobain's original meaning for the song and shit like that is like kept alive, whereas in Black Widow the meaning of the song is completely lost, especially by the way it is covered in that film. It is.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the opening credits in that film are something.
Ugh, nasty.
I've heard some people say they prefer the cover. I almost committed mass murder.
No, they don't. They're lying. I cannot believe they would actually unironically prefer the cover.
I do.
No, Jeb, you don't.
I really do.
I have 3 pounds of C4 strapped to my chest.
All right, but yeah. So, let's see who hasn't talked yet. Jeb, I want to hear your thoughts about the Batman.
do we really
Okay.
need to hear Jeb's thoughts? Is that something
yeah,
we
you-
don't have to, but
Yes.
I want to.
I got some
Okay.
insight. So,
Say this.
Sonic 2 is a really good
Fucking
film.
hell, I'm gonna.
Yeah. Okay,
This is
okay,
Martin's fault.
okay.
Oh, Jack,
So-
shut up. I'll give you a knuckle sandwich.
I'll actually curb stomp you, you little rat. Anyway.
I'll give you a vasectomy.
But
What
I
was
saw.
that?
I'm
Misery
scared.
loves company, and we love Jeb.
Can we please just let
So-
Jeb talk?
I watched the Batman on the day it came out.
Which
Nice.
was 3
With-
days after I did.
Yes, with my friends, because I have a life.
Heard
And
you do.
I came out loving it. I'm not really a big fan of Batman. I understand why people are, but Batman as a superhero has never resonated with me in the same sense
Never
as
tickled your
Spider-Man has.
Gumby, has he?
Like, I just don't relate to a really strong individual that can fight. I'm afraid, but this film, I think, delivered one of the best Batmans that we've ever seen on film. Patterson absolutely kills it in the role, and especially when you consider a lot of it's dependent on facial reactions or tones rather than the actual dialogue itself.
Yeah, and especially
His
like we
eyes.
only see his eyes and his mouth. because he's
Yeah.
using the cowl for like 90% of the film.
Exactly. My one wish I always said was I hope Riddler's just good or like serviceable, and I
Yeah.
adored Riddler.
Yeah.
I remember watching the film and they went on about cryptography and cryptanalysis, and I was like, wow, they're doing frequency analysis, which is exactly what I would expect. A lot of what the Riddler does is accurate in terms of the riddles and how you would go about making complex riddles. So I was happy with that. And one thing I never understood is when people like CV go, "Oh, the Riddler knew who Bruce Wayne was, and who Batman was." I'm like, no.
Shut up.
But I
It
also never
seems that
understood.
way too many people actually thought that, and I find that hilarious. So you're not alone, CV.
I corrected myself.
You were so confused when I said he never knew.
I was. Thank you for pointing it out, Sky.
I also don't get why people think he has a regard for the lives of fucking Gotham citizens, because he explicitly says how everyone focused on Bruce.
Mhm.
So I was kind of like, did you miss that?
Yeah, he
but-
wants to he wants all of Gotham to pay for the way he was mistreated, and not just the fucking rich people. It's kind of the point. It's like the entire city fucked him over.
I really love this. My favorite touch, and I know it's like nothing major, is when you look back at what succeeded for him. The only reason he didn't get Bruce Wayne is because of a variable he couldn't account for because of his own extremist behaviors and mindset. And I find that a really nice detail.
Oh, it's
But-
actually quite a bit of it with the Batman taking a while to figure out some stuff because of his view being of a rich boy, compared to
Exactly.
compared to Catwoman, which I really like. Like, really showing like class divide and shit like that in this film, which is
I don't
really
know
good.
why you guys are mentioning something like class in a positive light. Don't you guys know that this movie shits on people who are of a certain ethnicity that may or may not be the same color as my toenail clipper in front of me right now? You know, it's not good to talk about things like that.
No, it's
It
way
made
too
me so
political.
angry
I
that
miss
I
when things
got
weren't
into my
political, like
car.
You know,
Taxi
I
Driver.
hate commentary.
Yeah.
I hate commentary.
I hate accurate portrayals of a corrupt society that may or may not incorporate aspects of this little unknown term called race. It's really upsetting.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
there were
I
so
don't-
many people I saw were upset at that Catwoman line, where she says that they all focus on rich white assholes. I'm like, but why are you upset? It's true. That's what happens in real life too. I don't understand.
and how to explain why they are majority white, because the reality is that in our world they are.
Mhm.
It's harder for someone of color to get into that position because they're seen as a
I
minority
mean, we
still.
we don't even need to bring it to real life as an example. We just need to look at the crime families who are in charge of the city, Falcone and the Penguin. Those
And
dudes,
Maroni before him, yeah.
I'm on it. Yeah.
and Maroni.
Oh,
They
yeah.
seem to be focusing on like an Italian style mobster kind of life, like what would you get with films like The Godfather or Goodfellas.
Mhm.
Last time I checked, I don't seem to recall crime bosses, you know, being diverse in their hiring. They tended to focus more around people that looked like them.
Yeah,
And
these types of
since-
gangs have like a huge sense of patriotism. You can see it with Irish gangs and shit like that as well. For example, in
Yeah.
Daredevil. So yeah.
There's
And-
also a lot of compatriotism against people who dislike the Irish, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, we do hate the Irish. Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
guys know I'm part Irish, right?
Are you
Did I
actually?
ask?
I am actually part Irish.
Oh,
Are you?
that's strange.
We're both part Irish. Wow.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, you can both die
Ladies
then.
and
That's cool.
gentlemen, the Irish.
We're starting an Irish cult now. Irish podcast. Icon.
Irish vodka. Icon. That sounds.
Continuing on from my spicy Batman take.
Irish cunts understanding media.
That's actually great.
um, I think
ECUM.
regardless of the writing aspect, how it holds up in the future, I think one thing is undeniable is the aesthetic this film goes for. Evolutionizes how comic book media can progress with these types of heroes. Like Joker was kind of a one-off because of the uniqueness around the Joker, whereas I think this solidifies, for example, you could take a very different approach now with Superman, or in the future
Yeah.
with another fucking Spider-Man, but it lays new groundwork and it gives a new fresh take on comic book media, in which I think the future should be focus on what genre you want to do. So in this case it was a detective noir, and then insert the comic book elements. Don't make it the backbone be the comic book elements.
Mhm.
Music was godly. I really loved the movie. I need to see it again. Don't know when I'm going to, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, the music in this movie is so good that a lot of people are kind of forming split personalities based on the fucking songs used in this movie. No, unironically, when I was driving back home, sorry, not driving, when I was riding the bus back home from the movies with my brother, there were two people sitting in front of us who were also in the same theater as us, surprisingly enough. One dude opened up
Oh, how
Spotify and
contrived.
started
How
searching.
convenient, dude.
Yeah, I know. I have some
Jeez.
terrible. You have no idea how much terrible writing I'm associated with. It's actually insane. But anyways, um, the both of them got their phones out and started playing Spotify, and I noticed that they were listening to the Batman because, unfortunately for me, they don't know how to play music through their earphones at an acceptable level because I could hear what they were playing through their earphones. So that was fun. And I just saw the one dude like putting his arm resting it on the window of the bus, looking out ponderously, and then the other dude was just slowly bobbing his head up and down as he was listening to fucking Nirvana. I was like, bruh, my man's in a mood.
Oh yeah, after I watched it the second time, I went with my dad. We got in the car and I just put the Batman theme blasted in the car. It's like, man, this is so good.
Can I just tackle just like a real life?
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna mention that too. So I'm
Okay,
not sure this
okay.
person is joking. I hope so, but they're saying just like in real life, LMAO. So just another crazy leftist group. Got it. Have fun. -1 sub. So
No, minus one
Bye.
sub.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, is
We
it, oh, is
actually
it
lost
somebody
us.
listening?
I think they're serious because we actually lost sub. But I don't know if you're aware, but two people know nothing of politics in the host. One is far right because they're ANCAP.
yeah,
I'm the
imagine.
leftist, admittedly.
Yeah, imagine
I'm
thinking
on
I'm
the left.
fucking. Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take to generally go that the world is mostly full of white billionaires. If you look at the highest net worth people, they would typically be white. That's not to say that's inherently racist, because that's not entirely true. But the point being is, in real life, there are rich people that are white. And only recently have we seen more black people come into these positions of power because of better racial awareness. That's just fact.
Mm.
You are doing 500 plus years of history.
And then you had people like me, or a person like me, who was like, "Oh, you don't even need to look at the real life examples. You can just look at the fact that Maroni and Falcone are the mob bosses of the city who basically own the police and own the establishment, and these guys are criminals. And what is a
Exactly.
crime mostly associated with race? Discrimination. What are mobsters not typically known for? Representation. It's like you don't even need to make the real life comparisons. You can literally just go, oh, Falcone is a bad guy and is doing bad things. Wow, color me shocked.
I'm just kind
That
of
line
like,
was low key pretty cringe. What line, Jeb? It's Jeb from chat.
J-
Yeah,
Jab.
yeah,
Jab.
Jeb's Lant. Yeah, but what
just-
line are you talking about? The fucking Catwoman line? And if so, why was it
The
cringe?
The only
Probably,
line. Wait,
probably.
hold on. The only line in the movie that had anything to do with that, and it was a blink and you'll miss it sequence, and that is never mentioned again. Almost like that is not the focus of the movie, because
I'm not
people
even
need to
gonna
take their
lie.
identity politics out of the fucking movie, whether they're on the left or right wing.
I just
I'm
want to
not even gonna
clarify.
lie. The first time I saw it, and then I heard people talking about a Catwoman line, I'm like, what line did she say? And then I saw it again the next day, and I'm like, oh, she mentioned white privileged assholes. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're definitely not white and privileged, and she's definitely not privileged and not white. You know, it makes absolutely no
It's
sense that she
so-
would be upset about.
It's so minor. It's like that's not what they're trying to reinforce at all.
I just want to clarify as well because I've been stereotyped as the usual leftist. I've had many conversations about political systems with Sky. I can literally tell you I'm often defending some of the principles of ANCAP, and I think that is viable. I'm not gonna go, right wing needs to be shot or some shit like that. That's retarded. There's a reason why that those systems exist because they have a theoretical premise that can work.
Yep, you're so boring.
Well, you're a nonce. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, felt fairly out of left field. Didn't expect it in all honesty. I'm not sure why, because I think it's implicitly laid out on what Catwoman's views are, even just how she has her living environment.
Yeah, it's like I don't like, especially if you look at her backstory as well. It's with her mom. It's like, yeah, she was never like in a good situation, or was her mom, and she was killed for like no reason. By these white privileged assholes, which is Falcone. It's implied that Falcone killed her. So it's like, man,
Why are you talking about the Joker scene straight being taken out
Man.
of evil?
So,
What the fuck are you on
me-
about?
what?
I'm just reading chat and it's
We're
like,
talking about
who
the
cares
Joker
about
scene
that?
straight
Why-
being taken out of the SpongeBob evil laugh scene. What?
Wait, which SpongeBob evil last scene? Because there's quite a few. And why?
I'm
I need
confused.
elaboration on that. I
Mr.
watched-
Taco Bout It.
Thanks, CV.
No.
I'm a SpongeBob super fan, as you can tell by my PFP. So if you just point me in a reference.
Oh yeah.
So, is Amaze or Brit and CV just gonna sit out for the whole talking about the film?
You can just
Yeah,
talk
we don't
about
care.
it. You can just talk, Jen. You don't need to ask permission. I'm not like a fucking teacher. This is a podcast. You can just talk. Yeah, you can just talk whenever you
Okay,
want to,
my
Tim.
turn to give my opinions on this movie. So,
I do not give
I
you
liked
permission.
it.
Zod, go first. I'm joking. Can you
Fuck
go?
you. So, what I didn't like of this movie is that there are a lot of white main characters, but then there's 3 people that are good, but they're black, and that just felt very on the nose to me, and I did not like that.
Was it Ryan Kino who
that's my
said
main
that?
problem with this movie. Yes, it
It's
is.
also really funny that the person who sounds like he's outside is making that statement.
But no, in reality,
I just Madvocat's comment was perfect. I don't know why I have to pick a side of the political spectrum to begin with. I hate everyone, and it solves that problem, and it's great.
Yeah, I was
And,
about to say, me and him are on the exact same wavelength.
Yeah, I was gonna say
because,
that's a very good way of going by it.
To clarify something, Mr. Tucker, you on about the scene where SpongeBob and that killer is he a killer? No, he's the guy that wants to be out SpongeBob. Where they're laughing. Is that the scene? Because I don't agree with it. If so,
I'm just confused. It's like
could just be a
SpongeBob scene.
joke.
Potential, probably.
I'm autistic, so we're not going to be able to differentiate these.
Yeah, that is true. But anyway, CV, you were talking. Are you actually gonna give your thoughts, or is it
Yes.
just gonna be a?
Yes, it is. I'm giving my thoughts. So, I went in really, really hyped. This was my most anticipated movie, maybe ever, and I was worried that I might get let down, but it was very, very rewarding. It was an awesome experience seeing this movie the first time, and then the more I rewatched it, there was just so many things that came together. and made a lot of sense. We've talked about the score and stuff. I love the score. I think the cinematography, this is easily the best looking comic movie of all time. I mean, it's just phenomenal with the colors and the way Gotham looks and the lighting. It's all amazing. And yeah.
I agree. Now, Tin, I grant you permission to talk if you want.
I had something else, but I forgot.
Shut up. Shut up.
Zod, can you go first?
Yeah, Tin is being too annoying. Come on, Zod. Go on, Tin! Fucking Christ.
Okay, I will talk. So I remembered what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna mention something about Robert Pattinson because I remember a long time ago. I think it was Chris Evans talking about how it can be hard to act as Captain America at times because to give like facial expressions, your eyebrows play a big part, and the helmet covers your eyebrows, so you have to like really exaggerate every expression. And I think that's also something apparent here because Robert Pattinson, he mainly just acts through his eyes.
Yeah,
and they like every single scene, it's like you can immediately tell what he's feeling, how he's feeling, like every single, like you don't need any backstory for him because he does such a great job of just reacting to each environment the way.
Oh yeah, every time he looks like he looks at the orphan kid, the mayor's kid. It's like you can definitely tell what he's thinking just by his expression, and he has no dialogue with that kid at all. And I'm like, man, these two are already great on screen. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I love that.
That fucking
really
funeral
like
scene where he
Alfred.
saves the kid was like, man,
yeah.
no dialogue at all from him.
I also really like Bruce and Alfred in this movie. I think they have a great relationship, and I like how it starts out, and then he has to and then when he realizes that this was the first time that he's really felt like he cared for somebody, and he was scared of losing him, and they had that talk in the hospital. That was really
Also,
really powerful.
We've seen a few Bruce and Alfred adaptations now. I think we've seen 3 because while we've had like 5 or 6 live action Bruce Waynes and Batmans, we've only had like 3 or 4 Alfreds. We had the Tim Burton Alfred, who was around even during Batman and Robin time.
Oh yeah, he was the same Alfred in all those old films, yeah.
Yeah. Then we had the Christopher Nolan one, then we had the Zack
BVS.
Snyder one, and now we've got this one.
So far.
The thing I like about this version of Alfred that's different from the other versions is that this movie seems to imply that Alfred is the one who taught him how to be Batman.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Taught him how to fight, taught him how to look after himself, and how to, basically.
Yeah, it's like
take a
I didn't know
punch.
how to be your father, but I knew how to, I knew how to teach you how to fight, but that was all I could do. It's like, man, that's really good. It's like his only way of parenting is that, which I think is really, really good.
I want to
They actually do. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say I want to give a special shout out to Sean Pertwee's Alfred because he was good. Sean Pertwee was excellent. He's still my favourite portrayal of Alfred.
I mean, to be fair, he is the son of the third Doctor, so that does kind of bias you.
That's a good point.
I mean, just saying.
I also remember.
Do you want to go, Tin? Do you want?
I'm just waiting for CP to finish. He keeps going. And
So
I remember this.
go on, Tin. Go on.
Okay.
So can you go first?
So you all remember how like I used to be like a really annoying Snyder fan like a year ago, and how like I was always like sad because I was sad because it turns out Zack Snyder's Justice League was bad.
Oh, we remember.
Trust me, I do too. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that movie is a weird one because I was like, how the fuck can anyone think this movie is good? Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Sludge.
Well, I guess it's
4 hours of pain and Bruce Challenge.
Supporting.
Yeah, it's like, so I thought this film was good, and Shandy's like, how could anyone ever think that film is good? That's like the worst thing I've ever seen. So go on, Tin. Don't worry, it's
So in
not.
this
It's not that
essay, I
bad.
will elaborate on why this is the greatest comic movie ever made.
It's
Zack Snyder's direction is
We
masterful.
fucking talk.
see the only
I'm gonna
reason
be
why
10.
Jesus Christ, the only reason why the Snyder cut isn't the worst thing ever made is because he also made Army of the Dead, so it balances out. But anyway,
No,
Tin, it's your
that's
turn.
Batman
You should
levels. It's okay.
So,
talk. Tin.
hang
go.
on a sec.
It sounds like she's about to faint.
Yeah, for
Okay, so as you can tell from how I've been tweeting about it constantly the past, yeah, so on like the 8th or something, yeah, the past few days, yeah, I fucking adore this film. Like, it's easily like one of my favorite, easily my favorite comic movie ever made. Like, and I honestly think it's the best because this is gonna sound like a bit of a hot take. Even before like the Dark Knight hot take came out, I never really liked the Dark Knight that much because I don't know, it seemed too realistic.
Fuck you.
Pedophile.
I preferred Batman Begins, alright?
Jesus
I
fucking
just
Christ.
preferred Batman Begins.
Batman
But,
Begins
like-
is the best in that trilogy, so.
Because like at least that one, well, to me personally, felt like a Batman movie. Like it wasn't.
I think The Dark Knight Rises is the
too
best one.
grounded, It wasn't like
Jesus Christ.
like a
Poor
mix-
Tin.
mix.
I feel so bad for Tin.
Oh, no.
Keep going.
So anyway,
I'm just
What
stating
about,
my
what about
opinion.
Lego Batman? That's a good film.
Please, for the love of God, just shut the fuck up.
so anyway, Tin,
Just keep going.
continue
Just keep
talking.
going.
Why do I bother?
What I was saying was that I really like.
Oh my fucking good lord, shut up and let Tin speak.
All right.
What was I even saying?
You
I
do
don't know.
not like
You
The
were-
Dark
you were
Knight that
talking about
much.
How you preferred you were
Yeah.
talking about how you preferred Batman Begins over
Yeah,
the
like
Dark
I
Knight.
always preferred Batman Begins because it always felt more like a Batman movie to me because it just felt. Well, it took itself seriously. It didn't take itself as seriously as The Dark Knight because I like. And The Dark Knight always felt a bit too much like a crime thriller, which I know, yeah, it's me, it's just a crime thriller with Batman. Yeah, I know, but with this one, with the Batman, it felt dark and realistic. It felt ground realistic, but it didn't feel unnecessarily realistic. Like it lended itself to the comic book aspects, which I really, really loved. Like,
I think a big reason for that is the aesthetic, because the Dark Knight, unlike Batman Begins, and I think this might go into reason why you preferred Batman Begins. Not trying to like cut you off anything, but Batman Begins still had a pretty decent comic booky aesthetic tied to it,
yeah,
with the way
yeah.
Gotham was depicted. The
Yeah,
Dark
Gotham in
Knight
The Dark
went-
Knight just felt like Chicago.
Yeah, it just felt
Yeah,
like
like,
Chicago.
whereas in Batman Begins, it had like the Narrows, which felt actually a lot like Gotham in this. Like I feel like there was maybe like a little bit of inspiration there, which I appreciate. But like,
There's also quite a bit of nighttime scenes in Begins. In The Dark Knight, there's a lot of daytime, and that also plays a part in that. Because this entire movie, it's all night and sunsets and stuff.
also like
This-
the fucking like final sort of battle at like Gotham Square Garden, like that is fucking peak Batman action right there. Like honestly, fuck the warehouse scene from BVS. This is the new top for me. Like the fucking scene where like he runs across the catwalks, grapples the guys, and then just pulls them down. That shit fucking reminded me of Arkham. Like that was fucking peak Batman.
I was
man.
gonna say the aesthetic actually really felt a lot like Arkham, especially Arkham Knight,
Yeah.
which is
I've
really
been
good.
saying this for
Especially when
months.
he like falls down from the exploding glass.
I've been saying this for months now. This is probably the closest we'll get to like a live action Arkham series.
Yeah, and the funniest part is that the cinematographer, he said that he never even looked at all at the Arkham games for the aesthetic, so it just
Yeah.
happened to be the same.
Exactly. I mean, like even down to the suit looking like a more realistic version of the Arkham Knight suit. Like honestly, I just love that. Like
Mhm.
just what else? Oh, the fucking Batmobile chase. Like The
Oh,
fucking scene
yeah.
where the engine revs up and it feels like a genuine fucking demon from hell. I love
I
it.
busted a nut.
It made a car feel like a fucking creature, and I love that. And
I
the fact that
came.
it revs once and everyone just legs it.
Yeah, no, that was
They rev
great.
it once, and they-
It was sexually arousing.
Evie, for the love of God, shut up.
Lego Batman is a great movie.
What else? What else?
It has British robots.
Also, just putting it out there, Robert Pattinson in the Batsuit is unnecessarily hot. I'm just saying
Okay,
it.
thanks.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Zod is your turn. We're not going into
No,
Hornet.
no, no, no,
That's-
no. I'm
that's-
still going on this. You all
that's-
for the last 20 minutes.
That's enough. Nah.
No.
You're being
Too
silenced.
horny. Yeah, no, too horny. I'm
You're
sorry.
being oppressed.
No,
As the crazy leftist host, you're being silenced. Shut the fuck up.
Take this movie. Remove Batman from
For
it.
fuck's sake.
What do you have?
What?
You have a crime movie, just like every other Reeves movie.
Oh
He
yeah,
made
it's just
a
like
crime
every other
movie.
Reeves movie. Yeah.
He made a crime movie, then stuck the Batman and Riddler character in there. And that's my real problem with this movie. It doesn't feel like at all like a comic book movie.
Mm, yeah. So anyway,
So just realized how stupid of an idea it was to call this a leftist panel when you've got me on here.
Oh yeah. Shandy's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Just a heads up.
The first black Nazi. I even have a gift card. From...
I even have a Nazi gift card. Yeah.
Also,
and one of
before-
Hydra's secret agents, part of their new diversity campaign.
So anyway, Tin,
So, Tin,
were you done
What's your
or?
thoughts on the Batman movie?
Can I please keep on going?
No, you cannot. That's why I asked you.
Opening scene where like where the guy spots the bat signal in the sky and gets hit by a car, and he's not even phased by it. He's just more scared of the dark. Like I relate to that way too hard.
You pussy.
Tin thinks that Batman is just gonna come out of a corner and beat her up. Man.
Oh no, it's not this. I can't do that. The lack of light scares me.
One of those people who imagines a demon chasing after us when I run up to my room.
You have schizophrenia. Like, I think you need to get tested.
Yes, I know.
Tested for schizophrenia.
Oh,
All right.
Zod, please speak.
No, he's speaking. He's not speaking.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, Zod.
Yeah, I'm done, yeah.
Oh, you are done. Okay.
I'm done.
Nice, yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, yeah.
So, Lego Batman. Oh, what a thing.
Oh, dear
Jesus
Lord.
fucking Christ, Zod. This stream is
so
a fucking
I-
mess.
Yeah, so I, like everyone else, was like insanely hyped for this. Like, seeing all the trailers over and over again, pretty much. Listening to those, especially Batman's theme, just you know, like the brass. I don't know why. It's just pure sex, basically.
Yes.
Wait, so am I the only one here who is cautiously optimistic about this movie, but not at all hyped?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Good. I like
insanely
being
I was really fucking hyped for this film, more than I've been for like any film.
I like being the contrarian of the
Honestly-
group, so I'll keep it going.
Even during like my Snyder Show days, I wasn't as hyped for Zack Snyder's Justice League as I was for this. Like I was more hyped for this.
I'm more. I've been
To perspective.
I've been more hyped for Sonic 2, but this was what I expected to be my film of the year, regardless.
The funny thing is
Shut
that
up.
Jeb is being completely unironic because he actually
Yes.
is insanely hyped for Sonic 2.
I don't think people understand.
Worse.
I'm seeing Idris Elba Knuckles, like,
But anyway, Zod, you were saying.
So, yeah, and then it obviously came out, and people here were like, singing its praises to insane extent, but calling it masterpiece and whatnot. And I was like, "Fuck, damn!" So obviously, I went in with very high expectations, and I think it still somehow managed to exceed them. Like,
Based.
I would be rather cautious about having high expectations for a piece of media, because that's happened to me way too many times where I go in with expectations that are pretty damn high for a piece of media, and then I just sink because the media didn't meet my expectations that were set to such a high level. So that's why I was cautiously optimistic about the Batman going in, because I wanted to like this movie. I haven't had a good piece of Batman content in a while. And when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, no, I can definitely see why people are so hyped. This movie is absolutely fucking stellar.
Mm.
But
See,
I'm still glad that I went in with cautious optimism, because I feel like if my expectations were set too high, I probably wouldn't have liked this movie as much.
Mm.
Because
Oh, I
it's
think
happened
it's
to me so many
yeah.
times before.
I think it's kind of how I felt with the Eternals, where my expectations were so low that it just made me enjoy it more. Because I was like, oh man.
Funny enough,
this
it
is
was
actually
the exact opposite with me, where I was still all cautiously optimistic for that movie because of the trailers. And I was the only person who was like that in the group, and then what happened? We all ended up fucking liking it, so
Yeah,
fuck
that was
you.
funny.
The way I was with Batman was the exact same way I was with Joker. So, 2 and 2.
Yeah. Oh, I was
See,
really excited.
I think
about
the- I don't know why, but it's like it doesn't matter how hyped I get. When I'm in the theater, the trailers are such a fucking fever dream that I just forget all my expectations and I'm just sitting there. And then the
Yeah, I get
movie
that.
starts and it's just like it's
get
either shit or it's just I love this.
Yeah, because it's called the theater experience for a reason, because you're not really. It's a weird
Yes,
feeling
I'm not
to,
really.
Yeah, you're not
no,
really.
it's a weird
no.
feeling to explain, because when you go into a theater, the outside world is kind of no longer there. You're just encapsulated with what's going on. And if a movie
And
can
I
keep you
love that so
encapsulated,
much.
then it's really good at keeping your attention. Then it's going to go a long way in making you think that the movie is good. But if you get pulled out of the movie, you get reminded of, oh no, this isn't actually an experience. This is just a film made by people, and it pulls you out of the experience. You're not going to enjoy it as much.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
watching something in a theater is going to automatically make it easier for you to view this as an experience than it is going to be a movie. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend first time experiences to be in the theater. And I mean, you've got people like Quentin Tarantino who even says you're not watching the Joker for the first time if you aren't watching it in theaters, because you aren't getting the full experience from it.
Oh yeah, I can definitely.
So,
Sonic. Sonic 2.
Oh wait.
oh my god, please shut up about Sonic.
But
This movie will
Zod
probably be good, Jeb. Just
So
We're
go.
doing the Sonic 2 ECUM. It's declared now.
we probably will, to be honest. But anyway, Zod,
Yes!
you were
Why not?
talking, and we went on a tangent. But if you would like to finish your thought,
Anyway,
Yeah.
anonymous hacker, it's your
Jesus fucking Christ, Jeb, I will murder your mother.
General
It's been 50
Zod.
minutes, and very critical Brit has not voiced his opinion on this movie yet.
Well, it has been 50 minutes.
Jeez, oh my god.
So,
It
anyways,
didn't stop talking. Non-stop.
When will a very critical Brit give his very critical opinion on this movie?
When will Cars Gaming get to speak, guys? For real?
after you let Zod finish speaking, that'll be fun.
Zodiac, go ahead. Voice your opinion on The Batman 2022, directed by Matt Reeves.
Thank you, Cars Gaming.
You're very welcome. Love you, babe.
It's fuck's sake. I'm gonna. Okay, Zod, come on.
Yeah, I want to sort of expand on the opening scene, because I think it's pretty much like the coolest intro for Batman that we've ever had.
Mm.
Like just the voiceover, you got establishing. For fuck's sake.
Jesus Christ.
God, yeah, what are you doing? Those of you in chat who don't know why we're laughing, Jeb just threatened to mute Zod and
No.
then did it.
Yeah, Jeb just muted Zod on his own end. So yeah.
The Batman is a 2022 American superhero film based on the DC Comics character Batman.
I'm gonna
who's
kick
placed in-
CP.
Transform.
Anyway, Zod, speak.
Oh, man.
I don't care if Jeb mutes me anyway. He can't.
Right in
He can't hear me
between.
at normal times anyway. So
Yeah.
But he's performing psychological terror on us because
Psychological
it made
terror.
me laugh when I saw that fucking notification popping up on screen. Like, I don't know what Zod said. I muted it. What you're seeing here is advanced warfare.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh dear, one to get on with it, please.
Come on, Zod. I believe in you.
Ignore the Sonic Man, just get on with it.
yeah. So opening scene establishing like Batman's intentions.
Yeah, shut the
Like,
Just let Zod speak. It doesn't matter. Fucking hell. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it keeps happening.
So anyway, Zod.
Just push through. Push through.
so,
Development began after Ben Affleck was cast as Batman.
I'm
the
really
DC
gonna
extended
kick you,
universe.
Sifi. I swear to God.
I'm actually dying of laughter.
I really do hope you die. Yeah.
yeah. How? What a tragedy.
Oh. So, can you say your views, please?
All right, so Zod.
Oh, goddamn, please, it's like, say your opinion.
Jesus
on Batman
Christ.
2022, directed by Matt Reeves. Please, I want to talk about the Batman 2022, directed by Matt Reeves, please. I have things I need to be doing, okay?
Can you all please shut the fuck up?
I have Disney Plus open right now and I'm trying to watch Cars 2, but Zod keeps interrupting, talking about this random Batman movie. It's like no one cares. About 5 of them come out each year. I'm going to turn into the Batman soon, I swear.
Old is a film directed by M. Night Shyamalan that
Jesus
came out in
Christ,
2021.
shut up.
So go ahead, Sod.
Zod, in your own time.
I don't fucking trust you people.
So Zod.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Don't really.
Just speak, Zod. What's happening? Oh my god, just speak. It's not hard. You just
ignore
talk.
him. Just ignore him, Zod.
Yes, anyway, the slow introduction of Batman.
Yeah.
And we get the whole, they think I'm in the shadows, but I'm in the shadows, which is pretty much genius because it does a great job of setting up just how much terror he sort of instills in just people in Gotham. And then, obviously you get the train station fight, which is short but great. That also does just fantastic of showing just how
I'm
terrifying
going
he
to
can be.
kill Jeb.
Oh my god. Zod was stalking for like 30 seconds. Let's just let him continue.
You're literally typing and you're getting interrupted by text.
To be fair, it was Shandy that time.
I'm sorry, but I had to say something. Jeb, please, for the love of God, stop sending messages. Like, I've wanted Zod to speak now for a while.
Who let the dogs out? Whoa.
Alright, so
Just kick them free.
Zod,
Go
you
ahead,
were
Zod.
saying the train fight
Yeah.
is really good. I agree. Train station fight, yeah.
Yes, but I think the best part is that after that you've got even the person who's protecting.
Oh my god, please shut up.
And yeah.
The best part is
Yeah. Yeah, that even after the fight, even the person that he was protecting is like fucking terrified of him.
yeah, I really like
Because of
that.
how
How it was like brought back as to show how Batman is just, instilling fear and not hope, which is what he should, and that's part of his arc. I think it shows that really well.
Yeah.
Push through, we're nearly done.
I don't understand how we all can find this so funny, genuinely. It's just like so.
Jeb is such an annoying little cunt. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I really like that shoes on. If you have much to say, go on.
I think my favourite scene in the film is the Riddler and Batman in Arkham. Just
Mine too.
The
Yeah.
conversation between them two.
Yeah.
It's astounding.
Good choice.
Just but both Pattinson and Paul Dano, or how that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
Whatever,
it is.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Yeah, that. Sure. Yeah, they're both. But both their acting is just stellar, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Paul Dano in that scene as he
Yeah.
loses his cool, as he learns like it didn't go as he planned. It's like that was really fucking good.
Oh yeah, it's just got that level of mental instability that I've always sort of wanted something like that for like the Riddler, because it seems I don't know, this interpretation especially is just like it's just awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
So can Zod go now?
Yeah, John, can you say what you like about the movie?
God, this has
Share
been the
your
most,
opinion.
All right,
this has
so
been the most autistic stream.
I accidentally had you muted this whole time. Could you please say everything you just said?
Jesus Christ. So
Can you please
Brit,
repeat everything you stated word for word?
Patreon was a mistake.
So-
CV just laughing at patting these nuts, son.
so Brit, would you like to talk about your thoughts on the Batman?
Need a second. This is like the most I've ever laughed on stream. It was never been funny.
Oh, Brit, we still need to watch Fantastic Beasts.
Are you really gonna
Oh,
say
shut-
this now? Shut the fuck up, Brit. Do you want to talk about the Batman? Share your thoughts.
I think we should watch Fantastic Beasts now, to be honest. It would make more sense than continuing the stream.
I like how he was complaining in chat that he wasn't allowed to voice his opinion for 50 minutes, and then the first thing he says when he speaks is like, "I want to watch Fantastic Beasts with Jeb."
Real quick, before I voice my opinion, I'm just going to switch over to South Africa. I think it's so fitting. Zoe Kravitz's in the movie.
Brit, he really did it.
So now that we're in South Africa, I really like this movie. I just thought it was really good. Yeah, stop. Don't say anything. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's quite relieving to actually have a superhero movie that feels like an actual movie, and it isn't like, the 14th Thor movie, and it has high saturation and everything is green screen. It's kind of a relief to actually have a film released with superheroes in it, and it looks beautiful. Like every shot is really great. The music is really good. I'm kind of just listing off positives because I forgot everything I was going to say to begin with. It's been like an
Good
hour.
to actually have a movie for once and not just sludge.
Yeah, pretty
Like-
much.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't mentioned, I love the voiceover in both the beginning and the end.
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh yeah,
they
I
utilized
feel
it
like that's really great.
well.
And it makes perfect sense to have a
Same.
character that Batman as a character voicing his like inner thoughts in a journal to actually like keep himself
Yeah.
sane in a way. Like he says, he even loses track of the night, so he should force himself to remember. So writing in a journal is like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Plus it fits
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
noir detective vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also liked how I actually had to like think about the plot rather than it just be like, oh yeah, the big bad guy's going to destroy the universe like every other Marvel movie. But
There's no giant portal.
there is.
Oh god, you
Goodbye.
remember when that was a trend in movies? Skybeam?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I
It was,
got reminded that was a thing
Alright,
when I
'cause-
watched Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because there was Avengers did that, and then next year there was Man of Steel, and then Suicide Squad in 2016 did as well. It's like every fucking comic book film had that.
Doctor Strange, kind of.
No, it's Skybeam. No, what are you?
I mean,
no,
sort of.
it's not at all.
No,
It's a fucking
Doctor Strange
eldritch
did.
being trying to invade and destroy Earth. It's definitely not like a fucking Skybeam. I don't know what you're talking about.
What film?
Well,
Doctor
look at the
Strange.
guy just flying the Skybeam.
Unless you think
I
Dormammu
think
is a sky beam in itself, but he's not. So you're wrong, CP.
I think you're wrong
Well,
for no reason.
let me guess. When Doctor Strange
I
shows
think
up,
you
does
should
this whole-
kill
he
yourself.
he shows him, goes, Dormammu, I've come to beam.
Yes.
We all clap.
anyways.
that was very unfunny. I just wanted to get something in there.
You're right, it was, yeah.
So anyways, Sonic 2.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for that. You know, Greg Schwartz gonna knock it out of the park. Idris Elba, look, you know, people don't really want
Please
to
shut
bang
the fuck up.
Echidnas, but Idris Elba, he's gonna make Knuckles bangable.
So anyway, Brit, do you have more to say?
I forgot, but basically all it was is I think like everyone is really good in the movie. Like even the smaller characters that don't have much to do, I think are really good.
Yeah, like that one cop side character was constantly
Yeah,
like
yeah.
antagonizing
Martinez.
Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
Yeah.
was
he's the
thinking,
one who
yeah.
actually told him about the hedge thing.
Oh yeah, I like that as
What
well.
was it called?
Which
yeah,
is
the
which
carpet
is
tool.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
the
is not
sucker, yeah.
something that that Bruce would know, being like extremely fucking rich, not having to deal with that. It's like someone who has to deal with like being middle class, that kind of shit, would know about that being a carpet tool, and that's how you find the last riddle, which is really smart. That's writing is doing the kind of commentary the film is doing about how how Bruce did live a privileged life even though he was an orphan, which yeah is a really good way of showing that, especially with how it ties in with the Riddler's plan of him wanting to make these people pay, and he thought Batman would want Bruce to pay as well. So yeah, very good.
The only issue I have with that is I'm wondering why Riddler doesn't think that Batman comes from a privileged background, because how else do you expect him to afford all that shit?
Well, Riddler himself has a lot of homemade shit, so I imagine he thinks it's the same kind of principle. And
I mean, Batman has access to like armored vehicles, Kevlar, all this other fucking spy gadgetry. Riddler has access to Twitter and Reddit.
oh, Riddler has access to like he's able to make homemade bombs and shit like that. So I don't know. I'd say he's very resourceful as well.
Yeah. Riddler was a
Yeah, like-
Discord mod.
And it's like
He
I
was a
think
Discord-
Discord mod. Riddler being thinking Batman, maybe he's not like that. He doesn't think he does have a privileged life. It's just that he's fighting for a good reason. And whether or not he has money, that doesn't matter, because he at least understands their pain, which he doesn't think Bruce Wayne does. And so he doesn't think he's Bruce Wayne, but he might think he's got money, just not Bruce Wayne himself.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, that scene with Riddler in Arkham was the best scene in the film. I'd say like easily.
Even if it's the best, it's not my favorite, just
Mhm.
because now this might just be like pure subjectisms, but my two favorite scenes are the car chase and then basically everything that happens after Bruce injects himself with adrenaline in his knees.
Oh yeah.
Like, you guys remember, like during the final fight scene, he gets shot point blank in the chest by someone with a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
Which just knocks the wind completely out of him. I really like that because before that point, guns weren't really doing too much to him. Like he would stagger here and there, but he was more or less bulletproof. This was just a friendly reminder, like, no, he is actually human. He can be knocked out. He can be hurt. He can be killed.
Mhm.
So when he reaches for the adrenaline syringe and injects himself with it, I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that's just pure willpower at that point where you actively force yourself to engage in a fight just to help someone else. And then every action that he takes after that point until he eventually drives away from Catwoman, I was just like, that's just a perfect way to end the movie because it shows every single aspect of his character without saying too much.
Mhm.
And I really like that.
Yeah, it's showing
It
his
also
change
shows,
of him
like, a
just
mini
wanting
arc.
to like help and inspire people instead of the being vengeance, which is what drove him to continue to do what he was doing was vengeance. But when he sees the Riddler goon being like, I'm vengeance, like, holy shit, the shit I've been doing is not right. And then everything he does by that point is just like, I'm gonna help people and I'm gonna try to create
it's like the best understanding of the character that we've seen in the cinema landscape, I would argue.
I would agree.
I guess the parallel between the beginning and the end, where like the beginning with the guy he saves is just as terrified as he was of the other guys, where he's like, please don't hurt me, and at the end,
that woman grabbing
woman
his arm, and then giving him
at first he looks like I guess slightly uncomfortable he's touching it, but then like he just sort of looks comforting at her, then like just holds on
I
to
never
her
really
for as
saw
long as
that
he can.
as discomfort. I just saw that as shock.
No, I saw it as I saw like as maybe like he was a bit shocked that he touched her, because like why would she touch him? He's fucking scary as fuck.
Yeah, I think it was kind of, I think it was a bit that he is like extremely closed off to people, so he wasn't like ever thought that the people like that would just want to like thank him or actually see him as any comfort at all, and just more inspiring fear. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like pure shock or more like.
It's more like just slightly taken aback, but then like a little knowing nod that he gives her, then like he just holds on to her for as long as he can, and then like that's like when he says he has to be like a symbol of hope. He can't just scare the shit out of everyone he comes across. He has to at least stand for something else.
The reason why I didn't view it as discomfort is because he literally carried the woman into that cradle already. The idea of him being, uncomfortable with physical connection just felt a little bit silly. That's why I was like, no, this is more like shock, because the woman is actively wanting to still hold him because she views him as like a pillar of safety, which is not something that he's used to, as Tin brought up with the start of the movie comparison, or if it was Zod. Sorry, I didn't really look at my screen at who was speaking. But yeah, no, I definitely think that that's more of a statement of, or an example of him just being shocked than he is of being uncomfortable, because there's more than enough information that shows that he isn't uncomfortable with physical connection.
Well, I would say he's definitely uncomfortable with like showing affection, like physically, rather than just like physically touching someone. Like he was holding her. It's very different to have her grab his arm, because it's like, for one, he was the one who was holding her, and he was just carrying her, and that is just like, no, this touch only means like something emotional. It has nothing to do with like getting carried to safety or whatever. So.
He's gay.
Yeah, but because like even with Catwoman, I feel like he's very like for example when she kisses him to shut him up, is like it feels definitely like, oh, I don't really he doesn't really like understand this kind of emotional connection, and so kissing him is like, man, that probably never happened to him before because of how closed off he is. So he is taken aback by it.
Batman's a virgin.
Most likely, this Batman is a virgin. So yeah, not Bale's Batman, who's just like a fucking playboy.
Motherfucker.
But yeah, I don't know. With like, there's quite a few moments with Catwoman where he does feel like like he doesn't fully get emotional connection, or just like physical shows of affection with her. So I don't know. I feel like it can be both, that he was uncomfortable by being such a social recluse, but that also he was taken aback by the fact that she was actually like being inspired by him.
I got Batman Oreos.
Good for you, Jep.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, I also really like how Riddler's plan, despite being like very big in scale. Why did you agree with me? I was like in the middle of my sentence. What the fuck's he? Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. But anyway,
I agree. Riddler's plan.
yeah. So Riddler's plan, despite being like very big in scale and what he wants to do to Gotham, I do feel like his plan was really
Yeah.
simple. Fucking hell, it was really simple, and I feel like that added a lot
I
to
agree.
it. Where it's just like it doesn't feel like he needed to convolute the plan or anything like that. It's just like, oh yeah, this is the logical way to go about this, and it doesn't need to have like some overcomplicated shit like in The Dark Knight has for Joker's plan, where like half the shit that happens in that film makes no sense to have happened the way it did. For Joker's plan
In
to
the
actually
Dark Knight.
yeah.
How can
That-
Riddler
what
have
do you-
a stream
what are you
that's
talking about?
private?
Oh yeah, people are so confused about that. It's like, what? He's streaming on Twitch. How is what? It's like, no, he just has a private
I-
site that people can access. Having
Yeah,
the
and I
fucking
mean, you can make your own websites using Skillshare, which is unfortunately today's sponsor.
call. I wish.
But like, from a point of view of someone in that area, you could literally on the dark web. People tend to use Tor, of course. There are so many streams of illegal activities going on, where people just flock by. It's very fair to infer he is using the dark web, especially given a lot of the talk is extremist behaviours around weaponry, which is one of the most common topics. And the dark web typically uses encrypted channels, so you're much harder to find.
Yeah,
So
we watched. We've been watching Mr. Robot, me, Jeb, Tin, and Zod, and the last episode we watched, second to last. Anyway, one episode we watched recently is like it. Elliot explains exactly that, how a site in the dark web works and how he made it publicly accessible by anyone, and that was the way to get the FBI to get the people who were running that site. And it's like, yeah, it's just that's the kind of thing that does happen in real life. It's not like far-fetched to have a website that isn't accessible by everyone. It's just like on the dark web.
and the dark web doesn't require a particularly high skill level to access. Anyone can access it. So
Yeah.
Riddler is very intelligent. He already surpasses that.
Yeah, and it's also, I find funny because people are like, oh, he has 500 followers, and then people are making fun of that as if it's a lot, but it like, yeah, on a dark web website like that, it would be a lot. It's not the same as like fucking Twitter, where having 500 followers is just like nothing compared to most people. So I don't know. I think a lot of people are just.
You could just look at it from a. You can just look at it from a logic sense. He managed to convince 500 people that what he was doing was a good thing. He managed to convince
Exactly,
500
yeah.
people to go on a shooting spree. He managed to convince 500 people to help him blow up Gotham.
Mhm.
Like, it might not be a lot in terms of if you're viewing it as like regular Twitch,
Social media. Yeah.
regular Twitch or regular social media numbers, but when you're viewing it from the lens of, oh, this guy's making a cult of criminals. Yeah, no, 500 people who know how to build bombs is a fucking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they were the ones who helped him set up everything and then took part in the fucking raid on the fucking garden.
Like, I mean,
whatever.
if you're the kind of person who believes that 10 super soldiers can take over a country in one night, then, and you're the kind of person who also criticizes Riddler for having 500 followers on Twitch and know how to build bombs, something tells me that your standards are not very consistent. Just gonna put it out there.
Gee, I wonder who you may be referencing.
Yeah.
I just like it known that just because I criticize you for shitty behavior doesn't mean that I think you're a bad person.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Riddler's plan is like the correct degree of having it be like having a lot of followers and shit like that, but it never feels like he's created like a fucking cult or whatever with a bunch of like thousands of people who like control the world. It's like, no, it's just some people who found his views on the internet while extremely like valuable, which is something that happens a lot considering, you know, how many people like that have platforms online.
Like,
Fucking,
You
you can
could
just
also
see Alex
infer that
Jones.
a lot
so-
of the people that You could also infer that a lot of the people that he recruited are people who lived similar lives to him. Like, why
Oh no, it
couldn't
definitely is.
percentage of that
His plan was to like get vengeance for the people who were mistreated their whole lives. So yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
orphans like him, or people who were discriminated against by uh, the higher upper class, or people that were given unfair partial treatment from a government that was owned by a corrupt organization.
Mm.
There's plenty of people that would have valid reasons for the way for how they acted, but the problem is the things that they did are just unforgivable. They became the very things they swore to destroy, and that's what Batman learned at the end of the movie, that in order for him to grow, in order for him to help the city, he needs to move past this idea of vengeance and accept a more hopeful role in society.
Yeah.
It's almost like the movie is really fucking good.
Yeah. Thematically,
like-
this film is like on
But you
point.
see, I think I have discovered a plot hole. So you see, in the final battle, Batman just happened to have enough explosives and enough time to set up explosives around the stadium and blow up hurricane reinforced glass. So I thought he was rushing to the stadium. I think this is a bit of a plot hole.
Oh yeah, of course, because if he's gonna take down a bunch of goons who are armed, he's just not gonna take any weapons with him at all. It's like, oh yeah, that's
It's
that's
not
something
like
that
he
I've heard
wouldn't have
people
any in his
complain.
fucking car.
Yeah, it's like people have been complaining a lot about like Batman, that moment where Batman uses the explosives to break the glass, and it's like, so do you think he just he teleported there after he was doing it, or do you think he drove there? Well, if he did drive there, don't you think he'd have that kind of shit in his car? Then he just planned to use it so that that's how he gets inside, because there's no really other way for him to get inside and take them out without them spotting him, and he needs to do it as fast as possible because Bella Real's life is in danger. So it's like, well, that makes perfect sense. But people have some weird issues with that.
The man
third act
who has
especially.
enough foresight to make a fucking reinforced high-speed motor vehicle capable of chasing you on a highway is also the kind of person who thinks ahead and goes, "Oh, you know what? There might be a time where I need to break into something that's heavily reinforced. Oh well, I guess I'll just teleport there instead and then use, I don't know, my batarang on my chest to break this highly reinforced fucking. People are stupid sometimes.
Yeah, I do really like as well because you mentioned the chess piece, him using it to cut
I
the
love
fucking to cut the fucking whatever tape it was to get inside the Riddler's place. Yeah, that was cool.
How, like, I think that's like the only Batarang actually has, and like I don't think he ever actually uses like any other one. I think that's the only one he has so far. So like,
Yeah,
it shows the earliness of his tech, and like, there's all the rumors how like it's made from like the gun that like killed his parents or something. That's based on the comic where he uses that as like a protective sort of thing because that's where everyone would aim.
Mm.
And like, again, I just love how they actually made the symbol be practical and actually made it a tool.
yeah. Yeah, it never felt like the
It's like-
shit he had was just there for like show. It definitely felt like he had a reason for creating all
Like-
the gadgets he has.
It's like the thing with this Batman. It feels like he doesn't waste anything. It feels like everything he has a purpose, and like he's probably the most practical Batman there is.
Yeah.
Okay, but see, I like Riddler's plan, but I think it's really hard to ignore the direct contraction between his final speech and
Contraction.
flooding the city on a rewatch. I don't know. I'm reading a tweet. Okay.
Oh no, I knew because
What?
you said contraction, but I don't understand what the contradiction would be. In all honesty. Oh yeah, it's that people don't like that he fucking what the fuck.
See, even
Okay.
if he wants to be remembered,
but
he wants to
yeah.
be remembered for murdering the poor and forgotten people he specifically mentioned in his speech. The corrupt and elite live in penthouses and have resources to survive a flood. He's literally just killing the most disadvantaged with the flood, then trusting incels in the stadium.
No, he's not just killing the disadvantage. He wants to kill the mayor-elect, the Bella Real, because the point is that he thinks she's full of bullshit by saying that she's actually going to bring real
Not
change.
just that. Not just that.
He
Not just
full on
that. His
says
entire
killing her will bring
philosophy.
a real change.
Yeah.
No, not just that. His entire philosophy is that Gotham as a whole is beyond saving. He wants to
And, like-
destroy Gotham and
Yeah.
rebuild it from the ashes.
Like the way I saw it is that the flood is basically like like the great flood from the Bible. It's like a cleansing of Gotham.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like we're gonna take the trash out and
What?
start over.
And Batman is Jesus.
Because no
Yes.
matter how how much you sympathize with like the lower class, you cannot like ignore the fact that just everyone in this city is garbage. Like there is
Yeah,
like a
like they make a
handful of
point to
good
show
people in
that like loads of people in this city are just like criminals, and they like completely fucked city where it's hard to find one person who's actually good. Where we have like what?
Yeah.
We have Batman and we have Garden, and even then Batman wasn't like
Oh, no.
perfect until the end.
The person who grew up as an orphan was willing to make another child into an orphan. What a contradiction!
Yeah. Wow.
almost as if he's kind of insane.
But even then, I don't really love she used the insane defense. It's just like no. That's...
Yeah, it's not an excuse, but it's more or less just a case of. I mean, my guy was.
Oh no, yeah, it's
seen
obviously
Alvin
that his
Williams.
logic is
With
flawed,
music.
and it's like people are like, "Oh man, he should have a perfect logic." But we also like Thanos because his logic was perfect.
He was like, oh, look, you and me are the exact same idea.
Yeah, it's because people like to praise Thanos, but like his idea has been refuted like 50 years ago. The Malthusian idea of if you cut population, if you cut the population, resources are gonna last longer. And just you're gonna prosper. It's like no, that's especially when you cut like half of the entire population, the entire universe. It's not a plan that would work, and I find that fine for his character that he believes it. It's not an issue, but just say that it's like, oh yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It doesn't at all.
It's not that
Yeah, it's like the
bad.
same idea because it's not so much like a actually like mentally insane individual, but rather a person who was rejected his entire life. And so he's operating off of very flawed logic that he believes
I don't
is not
See
flawed.
why it's a problem to say that he's mentally insane. I mean,
Oh no, I don't find that an
thought
issue
that
as
was
well.
I mean, I'm
pretty
just saying
obvious.
it's not an issue. I'm just saying, like, even then, you don't have to resort to that. Like, even without him being mentally insane, he's still perfectly fine.
I guess
as a
it
character.
feels like a cop out scene. It feels like it's like a bit
Wait,
of like
are you telling me that you can justify characters' actions or justify quote unquote stupid actions by saying that they don't necessarily have to be insane, that you can just infer it based on character based reasons?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
basically.
Have you seen Arcane by any chance?
I haven't.
No.
Let us not go into it. I think the only people who have watched it are you and Jabba's watched like half of it, so yeah.
I'm just stirring shit, ignore me, don't worry about it.
We're already risking things by even streaming, so just don't.
Yeah. That's
What
true.
is Arcane?
But
Jeb went on a fucking tangent early on about Sonic 2.
yeah, that doesn't
don't
mean
see
we
how
endorse
this-
it. The views of
The
Jab do
Sonic
not
2
reflect
is
the
the
views of
best
ECUM. Oh Jesus Christ! See what you did, Shandy.
I support the Ukrainian invasion.
N-
Therefore, all of ECUM too.
No.
Remember
I
when
don't-
you
I don't
said
really
2
support
streams
that.
ago, like, oh, I shouldn't mention the Ukraine shit on stream. I think that's a bit too far. That was yeah.
Well, it's been 14 days, and we can now joke about it. That's the deadline.
Ah, that's fair enough.
Why are we talking about invasion? Batman.
That's the window speaking.
I definitely understood what you just
So I
said,
think I
CV.
figured out how Batman managed to break through that reinforced glass. He just asked the ghost of Kiev for some help.
The Ghost of Kiev. But anyway, Batman. Shit, I don't know exactly what to mention anymore. Catwoman, she was
Oh no,
great.
we broke his AI coding.
You did. Catwoman was fucking great in this film. I think Zoe Kravitz is
Like,
like,
covered, am I
per-
right?
but she's actually like fantastic casting, and I find it interesting that she was rejected for not being white for The Dark Knight Rises, and instead she got like a much better film The Dark Knight Rises could ever be. And her character actually has a lot of depth.
considered for the role.
Yeah, but she can't see that because
She-
she's rich.
Yeah, she auditioned for The Dark Knight Rises, but she was rejected because she isn't white.
She was too
Oh.
urban, is what they told her.
Yeah.
Basically,
interesting.
black CV.
But which I find interesting is because like when reading year one, I always like envisioned Selena as someone who looks like exactly like Zoe Kravitz. So when she was cast, I'm like, yeah, that's really good casting. I never heard
Marcus, you
somebody
don't
choose-
read comics.
That is true. I mean, I usually don't. I have read a few.
I mean,
Year
to be
one as well.
fair, I mean, who is this Marcus? All these guys here.
Oh yeah, that is also a good point.
Oh my god, kick CV.
You're talking to Finn here. Finn here.
CV literally DM'd me just now saying we should kill all trans people. I think he should be removed.
Wow, CV.
Removed from the stream.
Whoa, what a good idea, TV. I'm going to support you in DMs.
To pronounce my frustration with CV, I'm gonna move the region of this call to
Oh my
Japan.
God.
Japan.
All right. We are indeed in Japan now. So hello,
We're in
Japan.
Japan right now. The
Yeah.
age of consent is 13.
Okay.
What
So
do you want me to
anyway,
do?
Okay.
These nuts and okay. Okay, Jeff.
but anyway, I really like Catwoman in this song. I think her character has a lot of like really subtle characterization moments that a lot of people I think will miss, but that she like has quite a lot of depth in how she has, like she says that she doesn't really see the good in people, which is
Prove
the
it.
same thing for Batman, that he doesn't believe people can be good at first. He just sees
Prove it.
Prove what? Shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna need.
So anyway, so
Citation needed.
yeah, sure. So anyway, she says even to Batman, being like, "Oh, you don't see the good in people. You don't believe people can be good or whatever." And she's like, "Maybe we're not so different." And I find that really interesting because of how in the entire film she's just like looking to get Annika back, and she's not really caring about like the whole crusade that Bruce has. And it makes perfect sense for her to be like that. It's just like, I don't really care about like trying to fix the city because it's too broken, which Batman grows out of that by the end of the film, which is why he has to stay, which I think is really interesting, especially after the Joker scene showing how like there's a lot of work to be done still in Gotham, but she leaves because it's just not in her nature to want to help in this fight that she sees as like a losing battle, which makes sense with how she was
Okay.
raised in Falcone had her mom killed and shit like that. So I don't know, I really like that.
So here's the thing, right? Here's my main problem with the third act. You have all these different elements trying to come together. You have Riddler's henchmen trying to kill the mayor. You have Catwoman who's trying to get out of the city. And then you have Batman fighting the henchmen and, realizing when the person says, "I'm vengeance," realizing his methods were wrong. And all these three are great, but they don't work in the film because none of these are actually real.
Oh, well, I was trying to see where you were going, and you went in the filmmatic route. All right.
The fuck is he talking about?
There's a Filmento video that we covered on ECUM with CV, where Filmento just basically cites points about Tasm Chu is like, "Oh yeah, this happens and this happens and this happens," but none of that is actually real. And we kind of lost our minds essentially.
Because we're obsessed with Tasman 2. You can't say that we like it and think it's good.
Oh no. But yeah, that was a moment in our ECUM lore that we had to go through, where none of Tasm Chu's real.
movie. Well, at least less shit than people give it credit for.
Yeah, I agree. But
The fuck?
alright, people have loads of issues, Tasm Chu. But anyway, this is the Batman
Yeah.
stream.
People can be wrong.
People can indeed. People are very wrong about a lot of things, such as what
Time
I've.
for
So Ben
20th
Shapiro.
20th
We could
ECUM
actually,
on TASM 2.
No, we've only done like 3, I think. Well, anyway, the Batman.
Sky, what are you saying? We do every stream is about Tasm 2. We only talk about Tasm 2. It's the greatest movie ever made.
Well, it is, to be fair. I have not seen a
Sonic
Batman.
2,
I would say-
TASM 2 being 2s.
But
And the Batman-
I was
Batman
very
2
surprised
that'll be the
because
best.
I didn't think the Batman would be better than Tasm 2, but it was, and it's pretty
I think
it's pretty neat.
the only other
a lot of this
the only
character.
other comic book film that I think can come as good as the Batman is Guardians 2. So yeah, it is.
Are we only considering live action? Yeah, or was animated included?
I was only thinking live action, but if you want to
Okay, no, if
include
we're only
animation,
thinking live action, then we can obviously keep the obvious answer out of the picture.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say Into the Spider-Verse is as good as Guardians 2 or the Batman.
I would easily.
I'd say they're like close, but I'd say it's still.
I'd say they relative. I think in Spider-Verse is. I almost said better. I'm just trying to think here what I would, because they're two drastically different films, the Batman and Spider-Verse. Like they do
Oh, yeah.
different things, but I wouldn't say that because they're different that one is better than the other. I think that they do what they do well, like really well for each respective film. So yeah, I suppose relative quality is the right word to use here, because for me to say one is better than the other, I would need to identify what it does better,
Mhm.
which would be hard because
It's hard to
what
compare
they
the
do
two
is
films. Yeah.
different. Yeah, what they do is
I would
different.
say
Same with Guardians 2 and the Batman.
Well, the
Both
thing is,
films are
like, the Batman and Guardians show is just like Guardians show has better characterization, but the Batman goes way deeper in like plot and world building. So it's
building.
yeah. So it's why I
Batman
find it hard to
focuses
choose
on
between the
Batman.
two, I guess.
I would say the thing
Guardians
with Into the Spider-Verse, I'd say they're like, it's hard to compare because the Batman and both Into the Spider-Verse, they both achieved kind of the same thing, which is they brought like a really new like a new style to comic book movies,
Mm.
with Spider-Verse being so basically like a graphic novel and just having its own unique style of comedy and all that. And the Batman with its world building and Gotham, so, and the noir aspect. So they both achieved similar ideas in that way. And what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to do for their respective characters, I think they achieve incredibly well. With the message that the Batman is trying to send about the character Batman, it does that incredibly well. And then the overall message of Into the Spider-Verse in relation to the character of Spider-Man and how anybody can be Spider-Man, it achieves that incredibly well.
Yeah.
So that's how I would say they're similar.
Yeah, I can see that. But I also just remember, because I said comic book movie, Joker would be considered that, and I'd say that's also on that same level. But
What about Logan?
Logan is not as good as
Logan-
these ones, even though it's really good.
Logan's got a few problems that I don't think people really tend to mention.
Yeah,
Like,
that
for
film was
example, the
a
the
fail.
ending chase scene. Yeah, ending chase scene's got a few problems, but it's still a really good movie.
Yeah,
Really good character.
I think the closest really to the Batman is probably the Joker, like in terms of just tone or
They've got
style.
similar aesthetics, similar tones, similar styles. Obviously, the Joker and the Batman are different in terms of genre, where
Yeah.
Batman is a crime noir. The Joker is more of a I don't even know what fucking genre.
It's more of a
it is.
character.
It's more of
character
a
study.
like
Psychological
psychological character
It's-
study.
Yeah, it's just the Taxi Driver kind of genre, whereas the Batman is the Seven kind of genre. So.
Yeah.
Zack
Yeah.
Snyder Justice League.
Oh yeah, no, that is up
That's-
there.
That's the trash can genre.
The trash can.
That's
It's a good description.
I agree.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Batman is really up there, and I have heard a lot of criticisms that CV has sent me, all of them, because CV is obsessed with talking about this film, and I have not seen at all criticisms holding up. It just seems like most people are just not willing to infer a lot of stuff for this film, which I find interesting.
Now, granted, inference doesn't necessarily make you right. Your inferences still need to be based on information provided in the text. You cannot
Obviously.
then say all inferences and all interpretations are correct. You need to have a standard that's based on some grounded material found in your text. Please remember that.
Yeah.
Not all interpretations are valid.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
think it's
why I
gonna be
felt the
the-
need to say that, but I just needed to get it out there.
No, I do kind of get it, because I feel like a lot of the discourse around, especially our community and like IFA, it gets to a point where like we say, oh, that inference cannot be valid, but mine is, and it's like, no, what makes yours
I
more
don't know if you
valid?
guys.
Like that? And they never
I don't know
like
if you
set
guys
out the
know this.
standards clearly. But go on.
TLJ fans back, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that he said
He's back
the
in Holders.
lighthouse.
He's got a
Yeah.
he's got a new profile. He's pretending to be someone else, but still linking
Who?
the exact same
TRJ fan. Well, the funny thing is he was in
what's it called?
a group chat with me and Jeb, and he left, and I'm like, oh, I know you.
Oh,
I-
TLJ fan. Okay.
Yeah, and then he changed his profile. I'm like, oh, I actually know you changed your profile then. So that was funny. But
He's got
What's
the
his name now, like?
exact same strange beliefs about interpretation and death of the author and all these lovely little things. And then all it takes is just me and Uvu giving our most shitposty answers, followed by at least one or two serious ones before he goes, no, that's a fair take. I'm gonna rethink my stance on this. It's the exact same bullshit. The exact same bullshit. It's all back.
yeah,
All back, and I had so much fun with it. It was so great. TLJ fan, I love you, man. Please never change.
yeah.
I will say,
Is it-
TLJ
no,
fan.
There's the option.
I did notice TLJ fan on my Letterboxd, and this time they like the TASM movies. So there's
Oh.
that.
Oh yeah, they do. That's
yeah.
right.
Oh god, that brings like flashbacks to when they were like, when like it must have been like Southpaw server where like they said like I rewatched it and it's the worst film I've ever seen. 0
Oh
out
yeah,
of
we
10.
were in a group chat to debate that. So
Well,
like it was 0 out of 10.
I would,
Yeah.
I would just like you guys to know that he considers Rise of Skywalker to be the worst film he's ever made. Yet when we asked
He's
him
ever
to
made.
give
He made the Rise of
one-
Skywalker, man. Wow, that's really
no,
impressive.
not he's
it's
ever
been
made.
a lot.
He's ever seen. Sorry, speaking our brain malfunctioning. We asked him to give at least one reason for why he thought that, and he couldn't.
He couldn't
Huh?
criticize the Rise of Skywalker.
He couldn't criticize the Rise of Skywalker. He couldn't give a reason why the movie was bad.
What?
Keep that in
It's
mind.
literally the Rise of Skywalker.
Didn't
know.
he like say
It's
1917?
literally one of the worst franchise films ever.
Bruh. But that's
Did
funny.
he
It
say
was
1917 was bad?
If he did,
I
then he's
wrong.
remember him doing that, but I don't know.
Doesn't he like
Bro.
hate Lighthouse now?
Yeah, he said The Lighthouse
he
is
does.
like a token indie film, or it was an indie film made for mainstream audiences, and therefore it has no value. So that's a
Wow.
take.
Film.
Yeah.
His nuts have been out.
Okay.
I know, right?
Anyways.
But anyway, the Batman. Let's see. Colin Farrell was Penguin. What do y'all think? Because I've seen a few
Oh,
people on
yeah,
Twitter
he's
being
like the
upset
best
about
part
it.
of the-
Genuinely fucking amazing. Like those prosthetic works are genuinely Oscar worthy. Like
Yeah, I don't know.
like after I came out of the movie and like I saw it with my mum and dad and I said like so what do you think of Colin Farrell? And she went, who was he? I went, Penguin. She was like, no fucking way. like genuinely, like if you don't say that it's Colin Farrell, no one will guess it. Like
Oh yeah, my dad after they watched the film,
no.
he checked like an interview or whatever. Like, oh shit, that was Colin Farrell. I'm like, yeah, he played the Penguin. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I didn't even recognize him.
And it's not just prosthetics, it's like even his performance is great. Like it's very sort of, stereotypical gangster. Because like, I will admit, when he was cast, I was hoping for like a more sort of, I guess like the Telltale series, where it's like a bit more of a lean sort of a Cockney gangster with like an English accent. But like, the version we got is still really good with the sort of, again, the very sort of mobster sort of vibe, which I really do dig. Where it's like.
Mhm.
It's like a mix of the Arkham. It's like a mix of the Arkham version, which is just a little less stylized, and also just with a bit more real world sort of mob thrown in there, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was fantastic
was-
in the role, and he's getting his own series as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, and hopefully
Yeah.
in the series he gets the cigar. Please.
I was sold
he
on the casting the moment I heard it because I've seen In Bruges and his performance in that movie is fucking stellar. He
Have
really
you-
plays like a
Have you seen
mob.
Killing of a Sacred Deer? Because he stars in that film as well.
no, I have not.
I recommend it.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. And the funny thing is that Barry Keegan is also in that film, and he plays the villain. And that was the role where I'm like, man, seeing Barry Keegan as Joker is gonna be amazing, considering this film. So yeah, I recommend that film a lot.
Nice.
Which, by the way, Barry Keegan as Joker, fucking fantastic casting.
Oh, definitely. Like, from what I've heard about him as the Joker, he's gonna look fucking fantastic. Like, what I've heard is how he's based on the Man Who Laughs, so he has like a permanent disfigured smile, and like he like feels like he's been played a cruel joke, and that's how he views the world. And like that is gonna be so fucking perfect for a Joker.
hmm
and Barry King is gonna do so fucking well as that. And like, I know I haven't seen him in much. Like, I've only seen him in Eternals, but that one scene, I'm convinced. Like, generally, he's gonna do a fantastic Joker.
Yeah, I
And
really,
I've
he's
seen him in The
really.
Green Knight, and he's genuinely a cunt in that movie, so I think he'll do fine.
I mean, even prosthetically, I'm really interested to see the final design
Mm.
because I have a
Yeah.
feeling we're not going to recognize it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, like when you smile, like really, like sort of like grin, like it really changes your face. So, like having one of these had for probably like 20, 30 years, which is just a permanent, like almost scarring disfigurement. That's gonna look so fucking terrifying, as well as like the white makeup and like the black around the eyes. That's gonna look so fucking good.
Yeah, I really hope that we see more of him in the Arkham Asylum series before we get him
yeah.
in the films, because
Although
imagine
part of
having a
me-
series set in Arkham Asylum with both Paul Dano's Riddler and Barry Keegan as Joker, and it's a horror series. It's like, man, that is a pitch that is just sells me like immediately. Like, I really don't care about anything else. That already is like, I need to see this.
Although part of me hopes that they sort of actually build up to his like actual appearance, like where like maybe in like it's like a limited series, of course. So, like maybe in like the final episode where like he's throughout the show he's been like he is a character, but like you just don't really see him much. He's like sort of in like
So
shadows.
you
and
want
stuff.
him
Yeah.
to
And, like, the final
be
episode,
like
finally show him
Kingpin
off.
and Daredevil season 1, where it takes
Yeah, like
half the season till we actually see him.
yeah, like that sort of thing where like we'll finally build up to him and he's here and like you fucking feel his presence. Like the Joker is here and you are fucked.
Mm.
That's what
Well,
I
I'm not
gonna say-
sure if I would like that, because I want this Joker to actually have like a lot of character before we see him in like the film. Because I feel like Matt Reeves said, this Joker is like very early Joker. He's not the Joker yet. So to have him build up and become the Joker by the end of the series, I feel like that would be better than just have him be like hinted at until the end. I don't know.
So you mean we're not
Yep.
getting Granddad Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
Oh yeah, people really wanted Joaquin Phoenix Joker to be
I
like
still
in
don't
this
get
film.
that. Like
I don't know why.
Yeah,
like yeah, sure
Yeah.
he was good as the Joker, but he wasn't really like
the Joker.
sure there's
He wasn't the
end
joke.
series.
He wasn't. He didn't seem like the type of Joker that would face off against a
Yeah,
Batman.
there's
Yeah.
like the fan theory where at the end where like he's in prison where like this is early into his career as a Joker and he's already fought Batman and stuff like there's that fan theory, but I can't see him going up against Robert Pattinson Joker because I just feel like he would die after one punch because he's that fucking old. Like the
Oh,
first
that was
fight
the
scene
thing where
alone, he
people were
would
like,
fucking-
the film, the Batman is gonna be set like early 2000s, and that would be like 20 years after the Joker. But it's like, no, the Batman is set in 2022.
Like,
So
I think that was based on like the original script where like when this was a Batfleck prequel. Where, like,
yeah,
it was gonna be set in the 90s, so it then like it would make a bit more sense because that's only 10 years, so it's not that bad. But this is like 2020, 2021. Like this is modern day.
yeah.
All I want to say is imagine the Joker theme.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, Michael
yes.
Giacchino making the Joker theme. Hell yeah. I don't know if has anyone here watched Lost?
No.
No.
No,
I did a long time ago.
Right. So Zod, do you remember how good the soundtrack was for that? And more specifically, do you remember the Ben Linus theme?
I do not.
Well, let's just say it is the best antagonist theme I've ever heard in pretty much anything, other than like Legion.
Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, Shang-Chi. Ooh, I love the Wenwu theme. I definitely remember it. In all honesty, the soundtrack in that film isn't bad, but anyway, so basically Michael Giacchino, he scored Lost, and hearing the Ben Linus theme, I'm like, man, he's gonna make a fantastic Joker theme. Well, obviously not only just other than that, he's also made the Riddler theme already, which is like masterpiece. So, but
Yep.
hearing the Ben Linus theme is like actual fucking sex. So I'm extremely excited for what he's gonna do for Joker.
Like, he's
Okay,
always
so
been, like,
have you
academic.
guys-
Let him talk, CV, you fucking faggot.
Okay.
Because like I know everyone harps on how like the Batman theme sounds like the Imperial March, but like I'm pretty certain it's based on like the Funeral March. When you like, but like again, that alone is a genius idea for a Batman theme, like basing it on the fucking theme that's played at funerals.
Yeah.
like the thing he's gonna do for the Joker theme, I can only fucking imagine.
Oh yeah, like Riddler theme is has the fucking Ave Maria.
Like it's Ave Maria, which is like it's very integral to his character. It's the first thing you hear in the film.
Yeah.
It's like
So it's like
gonna be so
Michael
fucking
Giacchino
good.
definitely knows what he's doing, which is why I think it's weird that the soundtrack for the MCU Spider-Man films are usually so forgettable, other than No Way Home.
Oh yeah, like sure the theme is alright, like it's very sort of bubbly and sort of Spider-Man-y, but it's got nothing on the other themes. It's just
Oh no, yeah,
it feels unique.
no theme compares to the Tazim theme, to be fair.
Like it doesn't.
It's weird because like he made like the most forgettable Spider-Man theme, but now he just made the most iconic Batman theme. It's
Yeah.
Well, that does remind me how like each Batman composer composed for a Spider-Man film.
yeah.
I just find that really, really fucking funny.
Wait, each? Well,
Have you guys heard the theory?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
wait,
Go
but
Yeah, like
even
Danny
from
Elfman
like,
did.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
because
like-
Danny Elfman did. Yeah, that's right. I tried trying to remember who it was. Never mind. Go on.
Have you guys heard the theory that so you know how there is no other, as far as we know, there's no other superheroes in
Mhm.
this Matt Reeves universe.
Yeah.
So
Which I
what
like.
if this is actually a prequel to Batfleck?
Yeah, this film
Oh
set in
my God.
2021
Oh, fuck.
as
Right, yeah,
Batfleck
like-
service in 2016. Yeah, that makes sense.
Apart from Jeffrey Wright,
Netflix
it's
isn't
basically
happening
a
anymore,
prequel to
guys. You
Batfleck.
can just drop it.
So
Yeah,
what
can we
if-
just please forget the Snyderverse for the love of God?
So
We
what
already
if
have a-
Batman v Superman is retconned into being in the 2050s, and so that way this
2050s.
Batman is like a good 35 years before Ben Affleck's.
I mean, that sounds like the kind of thing that you would see Snyder doing, in all honesty, which is pretty sad.
Yeah. And much
Just
like
imagine
the
him
Riddler,
as-
his cult,
Sorry, go
and much like the Riddler, his cult will eat it up.
on. Yes, unfortunately, the Snyder fans
What
are not
if?
the best.
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, is actually the Riddler's son.
The Riddler's son.
All perfect. Yeah, like he was going, "Oh, Daddy's fist abomination." He was talking about Paul Dano's Riddler.
He was talking about Paul Dano, like the specky
The-
weirdo.
yeah, there's actually this deleted scene from the Batman v Superman super duper ultimate cut that was never
Whoa.
released. Where
That's my favorite cut.
yeah, well, it was never released, but it actually has Jesse
Well, yeah,
Eisenberg
I'm
and Paul
friends with
in
Zack Snyder,
old
he's
Paul
my dad,
Dano
so-
talking. Zack Snyder actually traveled in time
Paul
to get
Dano's
old Paul
Riddler.
Dano.
What was really surprising
Edward
to me
Nashton
is that
actually
Excuse me,
founded
shut up, I'm gonna
LexCorp.
speak, right? So what was really surprising to me is that, like, you know that scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League when he's first see Darkseid, like he comes out of the thing that
Yeah,
Steppenwolf talks to. What's really surprising to me is that Zack Snyder said in an interview that Darkseid wasn't originally meant to be in the film; it was actually meant to be Paul Dano that was revealed in that scene.
I'm like,
But I thought it would be
I'm like in
too
the-
intimidating. for
Too
young
intimidating,
audiences to
yeah.
look like.
I mean,
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah, so just-
child eyes Darkseid who forgets the planet. Well, no, it wasn't actually. Well, it was Darkseid who forgot the planet. No, it's Steppenwolf. Fucking, these names are too stupid. Anyway, they are way less intimidating than Paul Dano was in the Batman, and like I can say that with certainty.
Well, like, wait, in I think it was in like the Justice League Part 2 plans where like the Riddler works out the anti-life equation and he shoots himself. They had to
Oh,
kill
yeah.
off Riddler because he was too freaking powerful.
Oh yeah, and that Riddler was 100% gonna be Paul Dano. I'm certain of it.
It was a very old Paul Dano called like I can't live anymore.
And then in Justice League Part 3, Darkseid would actually be revealed to be an alternate universe's version of Paul Dano's Riddler. So that was the original plan.
Actually, every single villain in the Zack Snyder's universe was Paul Dano. That is the review.
That was the original intention of Zack Snyder.
That is the vision we lost. I feel very sad right now.
TV, fuck you.
That's why he forgot planet Earth, because he's actually mentally insane.
He didn't account for Batman fucking Lois Lane 'cause he thinks he's a virgin.
See, it all makes sense. We just didn't let Zack Snyder have his time.
Oh, I cannot wait for fucking Snyder fans to unironically say that Batfleck is better because he isn't a virgin.
Oh,
Cannot wait.
have you seen actually what people have been saying
Cannot
about this
wait.
film in terms of like Snyder fans saying like this is just an
Oh.
edgier version of Batman Begins or shit like that? It's really funny.
Oh yeah.
No,
Oh.
because you
Yeah,
see,
that was
I'm
what,
in,
I
It's the
consider
Riddler
myself
version.
being an
said like they were like
I consider
really
myself-
hating on the screen, like absolutely. It was just awful. Like
Yeah.
honestly, it's part of the reason I unfollowed them, but the main reason being that they're kind of a piece of shit. Like, yes, don't go into it, but
They're a fucking piece of
They
shit,
like-
but what they're saying about the Batman, now that grinds my gears.
yeah, unironically, yes.
Really grinds my gears.
Yes.
Is what they're saying about the
Grinds my gears. I'm like 105
They
years old,
were-
okay, CV? Shit just grinds my gears, okay? Jeez.
The Batman isn't 105 years old. It's actually a recent film that came out about a week ago.
Yeah, I'm not the Batman, Brit. I said I am 105 years old. I think you have hearing deficit, which means that you are 105 years old,
All I
actually.
know is like if Stanley
Hello.
Kubrick was a storyteller, he's so good.
If Stanley Kubrick was a storyteller, yeah, because he wasn't. Yeah, but actually, I was just
Obviously
thinking
not,
how I
yeah.
feel like Riddler does feel a lot like the character from Clockwork Orange in a way, which I really like because I like that film. So yeah,
Yeah,
I-
it's
Aha,
funny you
so
mention
you
Kubrick.
Zack Snyder, once again, the blueprint.
Zack Snyder, Zack Snyder's
Left.
Clockwork Orange.
See, when I watched The
Shandy.
Riddler and I saw every scene, I just thought of Zack Snyder's Superman doing the right thing.
Yes.
And actually, Zack Snyder was the blueprint because there is symbolism of washing away the sins.
Oh
And
yes.
there's a lot of Jesus in Zack Snyder.
There's a lot of
So
Jesus.
you see, in
Zack
Man of
Snyder.
Steel 2013, directed by the visionary Zack Snyder, there is a shot of Superman.
There is
and
a shot of
his feet.
Superman. Oh no! Oh damn! Oh yeah! People were saying that
So-
unironically. Do you know? I don't know if you saw that. Shandy. Of people going.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah,
saw.
that's fucking the shot
then
of
this
Batman.
film-
even,
Batman.
Yeah, it
Meme
was-
Repository even responded to that with a clip of
oh
I
yeah,
think it
someone
was
tweeted a
Quentin
clip of a
Tarantino.
bunch of films that have the same kind of shot, and especially Tarantino because Tarantino likes foot shots because it's Tarantino.
and then you've
known for
got
that.
Evan. But Evan
Meme
Monroe,
said,
the absolute madman, who reacted to that with a fucking clip of Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah, I saw
with
that.
the speed.
the blueprints. That was amazing.
I'm pretty sure Meme said, I'm just waiting for them to unironically declare Zack Snyder the inventor of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that too, to be honest.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
that's not
is.
You see,
He-
Francis Ford Coppola actually copied
See-
Zack Snyder.
Yes.
I don't think you understand that he made the film 300 in the literal year 300. It was a documentary. He's been going ever since. He's like when we were filmmaking this guy.
Oh man.
See, Zack Snyder, he actually brought a really authentic touch to that movie. He himself was a Spartan.
You see, it turns out Wenwu wasn't Genghis Khan. Zack Snyder was Genghis Khan.
Oh yes.
You just called Zack Snyder a rapist. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Fuck yeah.
He is the blueprint of humanity.
Zack Snyder is a
It's
mess.
actually
Is he
164. 1 in 64 people actually have Zack Snyder's blood.
That's why his cult loves him so much. They're all
Yes.
his literal grandchildren.
That makes perfect sense.
It all comes together.
But anyway, there's something Strike said in chat like half an hour ago that I want to mention. Imagine Michael Giacchino's Mr. Freeze theme because Matt Reeves said that he would like to do Mr. Freeze. So I was just thinking that how good that would be with like a casting of like. Well, I'm gonna say it because it's me.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giacchino's.
Oh, I was gonna say Hamish
His theme
Linklater,
wouldn't
but
be-
that would be great.
I think Giancarlo Esposito would make a good Hugo Strange, if I'm
I
honest.
feel like Zack Snyder.
I would really like.
Okay.
I think there's 3 really. I think Christoph Waltz could be a good Mr. Freeze.
I never
I
thought
think
of
Danny
that.
DeVito.
For fuck's sake. Jesus.
Chris
I think
Pratt
Christoph
is the
Waltz.
Freeze.
Chris Pratt. Yeah. He definitely
I
fits the
think
role. Yeah.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan
I could see
Cranston.
Tom
Bryan
Holland.
Cranston.
You're just
I
naming
could
Basically,
actors.
Tom
see.
Holland.
I could see Jason Isaacs.
Mark Wahlberg.
I
I
think
could
Jason
see,
Isaacs and
Jeremy
Mr.
Irons
Freeze. I
playing
don't know if I like that.
Mr. Freeze.
Mark Wahlberg.
Ralph
is
Fiennes
excellent.
or whatever.
I think that Michael
Yeah,
Caine
wait,
would be a
Caine
good
was-
Mr. Freeze. He gives
Michael
off Mr.
Caine?
Freeze vibes.
Um,
Michael Caine was in Cars. He's the spy car in
Owen
Cars.
Wilson as Mr. Freeze, please.
Owen Wilson's actually an
I would
underrated
like
actor.
to hear Giacchino's. I think Giacchino would do a good job with Mr. Freeze's theme, but it just wouldn't be better than Zack Snyder's, in my opinion.
Zack Snyder's Mr. Freeze theme was amazing.
If you're going to be watching bad take videos about the Batman, put Movie Bob's Big Picture episode on that list. It's titled The Anti-Batman Batman Movie.
Bruh. I like how
And
we've
we'll
been
probably
talking
talk
about
about
how
it.
this is
Funny
the
that
film
he
that
says that
gets
because-
the Batman the most. And it's like, see, it's the anti-Batman. There's actually so many people who've said that this film doesn't understand Batman. I find it hilarious. Same people who would like praise The Dark Knight, which is a film that completely doesn't understand Batman because the character assassinates him halfway through. So, yeah.
Literally, this film is about dealing with the misconception of Batman and turn it to fuck off. So,
What do you imagine
Yeah.
of Zack Snyder?
I was actually watching
And-
High Top's video on Batman earlier, and it was actually quite good.
Oh, that's neat. I imagine it was really
High Top is
pretentious.
seeing-
Freeze, please.
He made some really good points about the characterization.
I've also been seeing
Like,
Batnick on Twitter talking about the movie a few times and saying how much he gets right from the comics that he's read,
Mm.
like The Long Halloween, like I can't list anything else because comic books are gay and they just
Year
phase
one,
out of my mind.
probably, because this film takes a lot of
Yeah,
inspiration
yeah.
from it.
I know that's based on Year One, Long Halloween.
There's hints
Eagle.
of, yeah, there's hints of ego in there as well. It's like I think everybody that I've heard talk about it has said, which I agree with. It's like there's no one specific story that it takes inspiration from. Like there's just a bunch of influences, but it's like the first Batman film to really feel like just the perfect adaptation of a Batman comic. Like it doesn't matter which one, it just feels like it. This is Batman.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Which I
it's
really
kind
do
of like
agree
the
with.
same
Like-
sentiment that the Raimi movies got when they first came out, that people were just like, it doesn't really matter what adaptation this is of, it's still
Yeah.
a really good Spider-Man adaptation.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it feels like
everything
feels
with like Falcon and the gangsters. That feels like such like that felt right out of Long Halloween. Like
It felt like right out of Long Halloween, but it also had like some distinct Godfather qualities, which I
yeah,
loved.
definitely. Yeah, like I mean, it's a mobster gangster film, so it's of course it's gonna have that sort of feel about it.
Yeah, and it was incorporated way
He
better
should-
than Batman Begins did with Fine
Oh
Tune.
yeah, definitely. Like I always forget that that even is Falcone. Like
Yep.
like it just feels like some random gangster. Like
Yeah, he's just really
mean,
downplayed in those
truly-
films.
yeah, like true he's the guy who like teaches Bruce about fear, but
I
apart
think
from
my
that,
favorite aspect of this movie is
All day now.
just how much it focuses on Gotham, and it's not really a feeling that I've gotten since like Batman Begins, because I watched a lot of the live action Batman movies pretty recently, and a lot of the time it feels like the focus of the main bad guy is like almost extraterrestrial in a sense, where you've got the Tim Burton movies with the Joker and the Penguin, where they're just like these exterior forces that are just greater than anything the city can think of at the time. It's
Mm.
not really like in this movie where the actual antagonist of the movie is the city itself in the form of Falcone, because he literally owns the city.
Yeah,
get
it's
what I
something
mean?
that I feel like when reading comics or playing, for example, Arkham City and Night especially. Origins, I say, does that quite a bit as well, where it's like you can tell the city is like fully just fucked and destroyed, and Batman is just trying to like save it no matter what. And that's the kind of feel that I get from this film, whereas most shit is just like it uses Gotham as like a backdrop, and you never get the full scope of how fucked up the city is until this film. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
yeah, like again,
Like,
like
I mean, in-
like a lot of people said, like in this film, Gotham feels like its own character.
Yeah.
yes.
Like it feels like a character for itself, and like it
And a lot of
like
that
just-
comes
it
down
feels like
to the art design, the structure of buildings, the CGI, the cinematography. It all just comes together to make Gotham City look and feel like its own unique, as you said, character, because
Yeah.
it essentially is. It's an
Yeah,
aspect
the
of this
only
world.
other film that did that well, I'd say, is Joker, but it goes for a very different approach. Where this feels very much like a gothic approach to Gotham, whereas for Joker, it felt way more like a kind of like just simply trying to show, oh yeah, the city is, you know, down with the dumps. So this film has actually got not only the aesthetic to it, but also just showing it world building wise really well. So yeah.
Like
The thing with the Joker
Sorry.
comparison is that it. Sorry?
No, yeah, Ten was talking. Just.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
just
sorry, I
like
didn't
the
hear
thing with
10 on
Joker
my
with
side.
Gotham, like I feel like with Gotham in that one, it's like very much like an oppressive sort of like, I don't know. It feels like almost like just like it's just caged everyone in. Like it's like a literal hellhole that like it's just so oppressive for everyone in it. Like it just it's hard to put into words, but like just like oppressive is the one word that comes to mind for
Yeah.
for Joker and for Gotham and Joker. Whereas this, it just feels hell is the most descriptive word for it.
Yeah.
Like the opening scene where like just everyone is just fucking scum and bad, and just like that perfectly sums it up. Like not even just going through the art design of the buildings, how like they went to like I think it was like Liverpool and like Glasgow, how like they went there for the architecture, and like
Oh, that's really
threw
interesting.
in like maybe a bit of Chicago. I think I know that's usually where they go for.
No,
Gotham,
it
I
felt
guess.
very New York from what I've seen.
No,
More New York than
Yeah.
Chicago, I'd say.
yeah.
I got that
Well, are
vibe.
we on about this Gotham?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
there's
Batman.
Gotham.
Oh, this is set in Glasgow.
What?
Oh yeah, like
No, yeah, but
No,
I'm
no,
talking
they also
compared
did
to
Liverpool.
Chicago, it felt more New York than Chicago. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, they wanted to go Glasgow because apparently that's a shithole.
Yeah. Also, like, I think like Glasgow or Liverpool is like the new sort of Gotham place because like the Flash is also filmed up there for Gotham.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which I think it's a good aesthetic because Glasgow's actually got a lot of similarities to Gotham in its
It's got like very
buildings.
Gothic sort of architecture, which is very Gothamish.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the name comes from.
It's what I love about the Tim Burton films. How like it feels like almost like a steampunk Gothic nightmare, which is just like it doesn't really feel like much like a character, but the aesthetic is just so appealing to me.
Oh yeah, it's the kind of same kind of aesthetic that you see in the Arkham games that I just feel like it's like
Yeah, like
the perfect design for
like-
telling a Batman story.
well, I think in like Night it teeters on a bit more realistic, but in, like Asylum, like the fucking Asylum in Asylum, it's like so fucking dark, gothic, and just so nightmarish that it's just so Batman-y.
Yeah, it kind of feel like a fucking horror story with the Batman, which is what it should be. I
Yeah,
feel like
which
the
is
Batman
why-
also felt that.
Which is why I'm so hyped for the Arkham Asylum show, because if it's
Oh, yeah.
anything like, the game, oh my god, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mention games because I've seen a few interviews where Robert Pattinson and Zoe and what's the actor for Alfred's name again?
Andy Serkis.
Circus, yeah. They talk a lot about the inspiration that went into making this film, and Robert Pattinson's mentioned a few times that they didn't only look at comics, but they also looked at other adaptations, such as the Telltale video game series, on what to do with this character's version of Batman. And I find that really cool that they're looking at almost non-mainstream versions of the character, because usually when a comic book movie comes out, the main thing that people go is, oh, so they must have looked at X comic or they must have looked at Y comic. No one
Oh yeah,
really
if you
goes,
look
oh,
at
they
The Dark Knight, it's inspired by like the most mainstream comics. And even like BVS
Yeah.
by fucking Dark Knight Returns. It's not never like the most more.
It's always
underground
like based
commercial.
on the most famous, most infamous ones. No one ever goes for like the more obscure sides of Batman.
Yeah, which it feels like Matt Reeves did, that he kind of knows Batman as a character really well, and
It's
he
like-
wanted to tell the story of like the Batman he knows from the comics as opposed to the Batman like that most people know.
Yeah, it's like for a sequel, the setup for a sequel, it's like everyone's saying it's based on like No Man's Land or like Year Zero,
Mhm.
stuff which is very not mainstream, but like you can clearly tell it's based on it with like Gotham being flooded and like it being done by the Riddler and like it's set in like a power vacuum there. Yeah, you can tell he gets it.
Yeah, which is what makes it interesting as well, because this kind of vibe is the same vibe that I've seen from like the Daredevil show, though to a lesser extent. And I've always wanted the Batman to be like made like the Daredevil show, and this feels like it did that, but it also had its like own unique aesthetic, which made it even stand out when compared to Daredevil, which I really enjoy. Because Hell's Kitchen in
It's
that show
weird.
is very much like Gotham in a way, especially with the power vacuum
It's-
with the start of the show. So yeah.
It's weird to make another comparison. I'm not saying it's as good or anywhere close. Arrow,
Mhm.
a lot of people saying, "Oh, Batman should take inspiration from that," and I think it does aesthetically.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It definitely, I could see elements from it where it's actually done a lot better.
Yeah, because well, it's CW and versus Matt Reeves, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I can definitely actually see that, because I remember when watching Arrow, I'm like, man, imagine if Batman had this kind of vibe, and yeah, the Batman does. Because yeah, even like the Dark Knight, it always felt like it's extremely mainstream and not trying to do its own kind of own version of Gotham or own version of Batman, and this film does that, which is cool. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like sorry, go on.
I was gonna say it had some of the best comic book movie shots of all time.
Oh yeah, it's
Like,
hard to find another comic book movie that looks as good as this other than Joker. Because even like Logan or Eternals, I feel like they don't look anywhere near as good as this one does.
like just take the car chase for example. That shit is so well shot. Even
Yeah.
like even just for like a normal like non-comic movie, it's so well shot. Like the shots which are done on like the wheel cameras and like on the dash cams and like it was in the trailer, but the shot of the Batmobile just skidding to a halt and seeing Penguin's car just fly over and just crash.
Yeah.
That shot is so fucking good and it just lives rent free in my head.
Yeah, my favorite shot in the film is in that chase, which is the when Penguin sprays Batman's the Batmobile's window, and it's all shattered, and then we have the shot of the window, and then the focus pull to Batman's face, and and it's just like, man, you did a focus pull on like a broken fucking window, you can still clearly see Batman's face. It's like, wow, staging this shot would have been insane, while also making it like feel like a part of the chase and not just there for show. Because it's important to see Batman's reaction to being shot at like that, and how relentless the Penguin is to a certain point. And I feel like, man, that is like grade A cinematography.
Yeah. And also just the way that the film plays with like sunset and the way it deals with lighting, like
Oh yeah, that kind of golden hour,
think-
the golden hour lighting that you have in like the Raimi films, but in a much darker way, which fits the tone really well.
you know, like the shots where they're on like the platform with a bat signal where like the lighting can be sort of bluish, I think like dusk or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or like dawn or something. And then it goes like pure sunset and then it's a shot of Batman looking over the city and it looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that fucking shot where Batman is all dirty by the end, for example, as the sun is rising. It's like, man, that's a fucking fantastic shot.
Yeah, and it plays into like the whole how he starts off as like a nocturnal animal, and now here he is, and how he even has to wear glasses because the sunlight is too bright. Like, and the lighting and like the way the shots work actually pays off, like an arc like that. Like it's
Yeah, because he's learning to actually come out of the shadows and actually kind of like inspire people as opposed to be full of fear, which is the point. They're making like sunrise as opposed to just being a creature of the night, as you said. So yeah. The aesthetic for this film is just like completely works perfectly with all what the story is going for, which was something that I was really looking forward to from the trailer, because just the use of something in the way in the trailer was like, yeah, this already feels so Batman-y. So I really like that.
Like even just like one thing in the trailer I've always liked is just the simple title reveal, like the way that it's like something in the way is remixed for it. It just feels so unique but so Batman-y at the same time. Like imagine like 10 years ago when the Dark Knight Rises came out and it was like very Christopher Nolan-y, was very much tied to his sort of type of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that 10 years later we get a Batman film where something in the way is pretty much like I can't not associate with. Basically, whenever I think of that song, listen to that song, I'm always going to think of the Batman.
Yeah.
Like that's how well it's done. Like I never thought I'd imagine that 10 years ago. Like it's.
I wonder if you can
It's what-
say the same thing for Black Widow and.
Oh yeah,
Smells
no.
Like
When
Teen
I listen
Spirit.
to "Smells Like Teen Spirit," I'm definitely thinking of Black Widow.
No,
I
actually, when I think of that, I either think of the
Yeah.
original or Violet's color.
Oh yeah, Violet
I think
Orlando's
Kurt
covers are
Cobain-
great.
I think Kurt Cobain would have killed himself if he saw that. So,
Yeah.
you know.
He did
Again.
kill himself.
He would kill
Oh,
himself
he-
all
he
over
would
again.
have- Yeah, he would have done it all over again.
Unironically, I think the cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit from the Muppet movie and from Pan were better than the ones in Black Widow.
Did the
Did you say
cover
the
"Smells Like
Muppet
Teen
movie?
Spirit" in the Muppet movie?
Yeah,
that a
there's,
thing?
There's a scene where they're going, yep, where they're going, hello, hello. And it's a barbershop quartet.
I don't mean any offense to the cover singer either. It's just the fact that that song, of all songs, is being used as some corporate thing, which misses the point.
Yeah, completely missing
Yeah,
the point.
it's like the most sort of punk grunge thing ever, as used in a Disney produced film.
Yeah.
Imagine using.
Speaks for itself.
Well, but like at this point,
Imagine
it's
you
like punk has stopped being like a statement or a movement, and it just became like a genre that people capitalize on to make money. So
Like,
it
Yeah,
just
so
kind of
if you
shows that
imagine
even
it's-
more that the way it's used. Yeah.
imagine if
Punk
you
has
used.
become so mainstream at this point that it's kind of defeated the purpose of its own objective. Fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
If
Yeah,
you-
that kind of shit happened. Where if you look at, sorry, Jeb, just last point I'm gonna make. But with Blur, they have okay, what's the name of the song that they made to make fun of Nirvana? And it's their most famous song, and it's kind of like completely defeating the point because people think they're like this grunge band, but that's their like only song that's like that because they're making fun of Nirvana and how like you can barely understand the lyrics sometimes. What's the fucking name of the song, Jeb? You should know. Song 2.
Yeah, it's
The other one I could.
it's
Blur
so-
2. is the
Zack
other one.
Song
Snyder.
2.
Song 2, yeah, that's that.
Song 2, yeah. So, but anyway,
But-
Jeb, you were making a point.
I was going to say, using Smells Like Teen Spirit Black Widow is like an oppressive government using Rage Against the Machine. It's
Yeah.
at least Batman has had to use.
I've got a lovely
yeah.
bunch of
Automatically.
coconuts.
What the fuck are you singing?
Yeah, I'm confused. What the fuck just happened?
The fuck
I
are
don't know
you
how I
singing?
joined in. I'm not
See,
gonna
these-
lie, I just- I
I'm
didn't-
singing I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
CV, did
That's
you just have
why.
a stroke?
This is a Jeb moment if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, for real.
I believe
Just
that is
singing happy
promo
birthday in the middle of a
by
stream.
Drake.
I would just
Is
like
it
to
your
point out that my
big
Spider-Man 3
ones,
video
small
has just gotten
ones?
over 4,000 views.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yo,
Congrats.
Why are you
Time
talking
to-
about Spider-Man? The Batman is out.
Definitely better
Whoa,
than
that's
it
pretty
come.
cool.
Definitely better than come.
I'm totally not.
I'm trying to read chat, you faggot. Definitely better than Come As You Are being used in Captain Marvel with the Supreme Intelligence dancing. I completely forgot they used Come As You Are in that film. Yeah.
that was using
completely
Captain
forgot
Marvel.
about
Oh no.
What'd you say, Jack? CV,
can't-
shut
why
the
does
fuck up.
Lizzie keep- Why does Lizzie keep fucking using Nirvana wrong? Stop it. Kurt Cobain died. Stop
Remember when like
hurting him.
like
Stop
I
hurting.
haven't got for like the rest of the shows, but like Defenders use "Come As You Are" in one of the trailers.
Oh, that was a really good trailer actually. CV, I'm gonna kick you from the
TV,
fucking
for fuck's sake.
That's for one time Marvel has used it right.
yeah. And even then, it's
Dude.
like
About
Defenders
the Guardians of the
had
Galaxy films is that they introduce like this whole kind of subgenre of movies where it's like, oh, we're just gonna throw in like 80s and 90s songs, even though it doesn't fit.
Yeah, and the issue is like in Guardians of the Galaxy, there's a purpose to every song being included.
Yeah.
Especially because of the it ties in with Quill's mother, and
Could we
James
just
Gunn,
say
he takes a
that
long
Guardians
time to
films are
pick
not
the songs.
Marvel movies?
Yeah, it's like style because of the movie. It isn't
Yeah.
like just style.
Yeah, it isn't just
So-
doing it
I
because
have
like
no-
nostalgia for old music. Like
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
He
reason.
does it with
Suicide
Peacemaker
Squad.
as well.
There's a scene in
Peacemaker,
Suicide
yeah.
Squad, the 2016 one, where like they use "Spirit in the Sky" when they take off, and I know for certain they use that song particularly because it was used in a Guardians trailer.
Mm. Yeah, but
Yeah,
like
I disagree
Jeb
that-
said in
like-
Peacemaker, like the way the music is used to tie in with Peacemaker and his relationship with his brother, like that as well, was really well done.
I possess the means of causing an explosion.
That
See,
is,
this is the thing about
Who asked
okay.
that?
Jeb, go on.
certain directors. You got like Reeves with the ability to create and make the aesthetics in unique shots, and you got Gunn able to really use music in a way no other director kind of does it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why we just need those two for the MCU and DC and overwork them. I
Overwork
don't want
them.
anyone else.
Just have those two make every single comic book film from now on. Have them
Taika
come out like
Waititi
4
could be there.
movies per year just from those two.
They did destroy their psyches. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi can help, but aside from that,
Oh yeah, Taika actually uses Immigrant Song well in Ragnarok. Though I do feel like that is indeed the song I'm thinking of. Yeah. But yeah, I do think it is kind of used just for like, oh, you know, it is the film with the fucking Led Zeppelin song, but it is used better than most instances of like pop music or whatever.
I mean, even Infinity War, you could tell Gunn had influence on the very first Guardian scene because Rubber Band Man.
Yeah. And it going off of him getting the fucking whatever the fuck that device is called that Yondu gave to him. I feel like it works really
A
well.
Zune.
Zune? I think it is something like that.
I think it was a Zune.
Yeah. Which is really fun in Guardian's Shoe when Yondu is like, oh yeah, that's the thing everyone's using on Earth now. It's like no one ever has used that. I think it's hilarious.
The iPod. It was iPod versus Zune and iPod 1.
Yeah. But it's like, oh yeah, everyone's using that. But yeah. So anyway, James Gunn, this is what the stream is about. No, but James Gunn's really good as well. I'm scared about Guardians 3, but I do feel like it's gonna be like the one good thing to come out of the phase 4 of the MCU other than Eternals, so who knows. Eternals actually did use time really well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It fit really well the what they were
Eternals
going for.
sucks.
Sure, CV. But yeah, I did in the intro using time. I think it fit really well as well. So I don't know. There are a few directors who can use music without it feeling like just trying to cash in on nostalgia or whatever, or just, you know, music being popular. You know, like Don't Look Up use fucking Ariana Grande.
Shang-Chi using Hotel California.
Oh,
My
yeah.
granddad did not die for that shit.
Based decision on Shang-Chi's part.
Well, it's like, it's a good song, but could you not? Fucking Katie singing Hotel California in that one soldier's face. It's fucking stupid.
I mean, Shang-Chi's a
rage
good
I
movie,
had.
so like, I don't see the problem.
Oh
The
yeah.
rage I had using Hotel California the way they did. Jesus Christ.
I think James Gunn writes
hope
the specific
everyone
songs into
watching
his
this-
scripts. Tarantino, Scorsese also use licensed songs really well. I agree with that. James Gunn has said that the process of choosing the songs, he chooses them as he's writing the script. So he definitely incorporates them in like what he's doing storytelling wise. Which is what I feel like as well
I
that
hope
is done in Legion.
I hope everyone watching this stream knows that I believe Shang-Chi is a masterpiece.
Oh yeah. Just discounting completely CV's opinion on anything he has ever said by saying that
Isn't
Shang-Chi's a
Shang-Chi
masterpiece.
that like TV show about people going through like games where they die and like
What?
I think I'm just going to be that. I think I'm going to be the voice of reason and say just because CV said something stupid once doesn't mean that everything he said ever is now invalid.
No, but
is,
the thing he said is that Shang-Chi's a
Thank you,
masterpiece. So that's too stupid for me.
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
Shandy.
No.
See,
I appreciate that,
told
Shandy.
me that Squid Game is a. Never mind. I forgot.
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Oh.
Imagine mentioning Squid Game. Fucking.
No, I'm
Game's more like-
Asian.
Blueprint Zack Snyder.
Oh yeah.
I think Zack Snyder literally invented Squid Game. I think he's Asian.
It's Justice League. It's just Squid Game.
I don't know what's better, Zack Snyder being Asian or him doing a documentary for 300.
The ECUM lore for Zack Snyder is just gonna grow. He's just gonna have invented Earth by the end. Zack Snyder is literally Arishem.
Instead of Arishim Majuj, it's Snyder the
filmmaker.
blueprinter or
The
Snyder the
blueprint.
creator.
Zack Snyder actually invented the camera.
It's pretty sad.
Zack
Zack Snyder
blueprint for
invented
filmmaking.
the very film that we use.
It is pretty sad because Zack Snyder's a nice guy, but fuck me, he's got a cold,
Yeah, like-
and I don't understand.
I'll always say this. He seems like just a really stand-up guy and like a really fun guy to work with. But fuck me, his film and his fan base are just shit.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm not sure why J.K. Rowling gets so much credit for Harry Potter. It was actually Zack Snyder who wrote the entire series of books.
I think you'll find that Zack Snyder actually invented the alphabet.
If you actually pay attention, his name has every single letter of the alphabet, and that was on purpose.
Zack
Yeah.
Snyder founded the Greek language.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder invented communication.
Zack Snyder's Aristotle.
I think you'll find that Zack Snyder was literally the first human to ever exist. He was
was
brought out
Adam.
of the water.
When God
Zack
created Earth.
Snyder's the missing link.
Zack Snyder invented philosophy.
He pretty much did. Have
Yeah.
you not seen his films?
I think doctors, instead of taking the Hippocratic Oath, should take the Zack
Zack
Snyder
Snyder.
That sounds like a Zack Snyder cereal.
Since like
Zack Snyder.
When scientists were exploring the human body and creating anatomical diagrams, they used Zack Snyder as the blueprints.
He is so raw and masculine as a human.
Masculine.
You couldn't resist.
Zack Snyder.
It wasn't the little fish lizard that walked out the ocean that evolved. It was Zack Snyder.
Yes.
Zack Snyder proposed the theory of evolution.
He didn't propose, he created evolution. Like,
Our planet.
He is.
beings
Everything
didn't start to evolve until Zack Snyder decided to just evolve on his own.
I think instead of learning about World War II in history, schools should really teach the history of Zack Snyder's filmography. It would be much more beneficial in the long run.
Zack Snyder killed Hitler.
Zack Snyder killed.
If Zack Snyder went to Ukraine, Putin would back off.
Oh yeah. He just doesn't do it because he's too
upset Zack
powerful.
Snyder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
Zack Snyder,
actually
mate.
Zack Snyder's. It was actually Zack Snyder's Watchmen that the Bible was sent upon into Earth.
you thought
Yeah, I think
Shaggy
you'll
was
find that
powerful, man.
the Book of Genesis is actually about Zack Snyder, but they misspelled it as
Rain, I
God.
have no idea how to answer that question. They've been talking about this now non-stop for the last 33 years.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Look,
Zack Snyder created superheroes.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder is my best friend. That's the biggest achievement.
Zack Snyder. is
Zack
absolutely
Snyder
my dad.
actually birthed me.
Zack Snyder
So
created
anyway.
Sonic 2.
So anyway,
So
Zack
that,
Snyder.
let us move on from this Zack Snyder
Snyder
rabbit hole we went
cinema.
into, please.
I think what's funny to me is that Stanley Kubrick once said that to make a camera stay still when you're shooting a film is to use a tripod, and I think he directly got that from Zack Snyder. He used tripods multiple times during his filmmaking process. I think The Shining is very. It reminds me a lot of themes presented in.
shut the fuck up.
so anyway, yeah, let's get back to
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition.
Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. It's just Zack Snyder's dream. He dreamt that and gave it to Alfred Hitchcock and went, "Here, you have a freebie." He's such a nice guy, you know.
What's funny to me is that Sun Tzu directly stole from Zack Snyder to make his book The Art of War.
See, I believe Brit was onto something when he brought up Stanley Kubrick, because one of a very famous quote is that if it can be written or thought, it can be filmed. And the first person to ever think or write anything was actually Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder did the Roald Dahl book, so it's just Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I think what
This
you'll find is
sentence is going
the
to
BFG
say,
was
I
based
do
off
not
of Zack Snyder.
condone ECUM. I swear to God.
Do you not? You're here. That means you agree with everything we're saying. But anyway, with the Batman, it is a good film.
By Zack
So
Snyder,
Stanley
yes.
Kubrick uses his feet, and Zack Snyder invented feet. His movie
Jesus
Man
fucking
of Steel.
Christ.
Our entire economy is based upon numbers. Zack Snyder came up with the idea
The Batman
for
is a
numbers.
film made by Matt Reeves that I really like. So
It's
let us talk
interesting
about
to
that
me
film
that
Robert
That kind of
Pattinson was
first
really good.
brought
I'm gonna
through
kick all
the
of you
concept
except for
of
Shandy. I
socialism.
swear to God.
However, Karl Marx was the one who kind of stole socialism from Zack Snyder.
Did just go, what have I done in the background that's Brit's gone about Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
I can't.
No, you should be a Snyder fan, so that means she's in the wrong as well. It's all your fault.
Went to a year of rehab, damn it.
Zack Snyder created transgenderism.
Zack Snyder single-handedly he just ended slavery in America. It was wild. It was a wild time back then. Zack Snyder made a movie called Watchmen.
He made a movie called Watchmen and ended slavery. But anyway,
It really inspired this guy. You might not have heard of him. He's called Abraham
Lincoln's-
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation is based upon Watchmen.
yeah.
This is
The
too
Magna
autistic
Carta.
for me.
Yeah, so, okay, actually, for real. Alright, let us get back
You're
into
fine.
the
Magna
Batman.
Carta
Brit,
is
I swear to God, I will
okay.
actually kick you from the call.
Zack Snyder made the film old.
Somebody chat saying Kevin Feige is actually Zack Snyder in disguise.
I think you'll find. I don't know if any of you have heard this movie. It's called Sucker Punch. It's by Zack Snyder. He's not a very well-known filmmaker.
We've actually gained subs from this. Holy fuck.
Well, of course, it's the Zack Snyder lore that people came here for.
Yeah, and you're trying to silence us. So as I was saying,
No, Jesus fucking
there's
Christ,
this-
for real. Let us
there's this
let us
movie-
talk about the actual point of this stream, which is
Hey,
the Batman, please.
Let me just finish what I'm trying to say here. I think it will really change your outlook in life. So there's this there's this film.
Do you even know what you're gonna say, or are you just trying to come up with it on the spot?
I'm trying to.
The very reason we can have this call is because of an algorithm within Discord, which was invented by Zack Snyder.
Snyder.
Please stop it.
So there's this movie called Sucker Punch.
Jeb is asking you to stop.
If even Jeb is
It's
doing.
like
Alright, so,
Zack Snyder made
okay.
The Cars film.
indie
Jesus
abstract
fucking Christ.
art house filmmaker called Zack Snyder. I think you'll find that if you go into any museum, because every museum has it, there's this thing with the Magna Carta. What you'll find
You see it as. Alright.
you'll find
Okay,
the
okay,
Magna
Brit,
Carta is just a
Brit,
stick to Sucker Punch.
please.
You know, you could have just muted them entirely, and we could have just continued speaking. They wouldn't have known anything.
Brit, so. Anyway,
Oh,
so okay. So
Zack
that was the
Potentially
Zack
best
Snyder
ECUM
tangent of yeah.
all
So
time.
that was the Zack Snyder tangent of this stream. You're welcome
can
for
we keep
that.
going?
No.
Oh.
From
Right.
yours truly,
So-
Brit, Jeb, and CV.
So the Batman. Yeah. What was your favorite action scene in the film?
Zack
whoever-
Snyder.
Fuck off! I swear to God.
when
They said it at the same time.
It is an actual fucking question.
I think, I know.
Okay, I'll
My
go.
favorite action scene was the car chase. I thought it was one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history, modern times.
waiting for Zack Snyder at the end.
Okay.
No, because Zack Snyder also did a car chase with Batman.
What really disappointed me.
On
No,
a
but what
serious note,
What
Honest.
disappointed me about the car chase is that Batman didn't ever gun down about 13 men.
Genuinely seek the sweet release of death. Please shut the fuck up.
You never, saw like an innocent child trying to cross the road and ran him down. Like
So anyway, Jeb, you were saying on a serious note.
on a real note, I'm trying to think what the best fight scene is. I want to say the car chase scene,
Mm.
and the reason being is, I think combat-wise for Batman's pretty. It's not easy to get, but it's a lot easier than a car chase scene.
Mm.
Especially with the Batmobile. We haven't had a scene quite like this for the Batmobile, and all the different shots ongoing, the rising tension, how Batman's actually trying to ensure people don't get hurt, which people don't actually notice, but he is actually ensuring that. How Penguin's like screaming, "I got you," and then you just see the Batmobile fly through.
That is the coolest Batman moment ever. By the way, the Batmobile just fucking rising through the flames as the Penguin thinks he got Batman, but actually, obviously, he didn't. That's so fucking awesome.
It's
They did the whole thing practically, which is
Yeah.
Yes.
unreal to me.
It's either that, just from a sheer cinematography level, at choreography level, or it's a very opening fight scene where he just beats the shit out of the thugs, and it sets you in immediately. One of those two for me.
I think for me, my
I
the thing
actually
is
think the
all
weakest. Oh, sorry, I thought Tim was done.
well, see, I think all the fight scenes were good. Like, I really love the engine fight. How that's like peak Batman fighting. How like he grapple when he like grapples onto the thugs and just pulls them down and has them hanging like that. That shit's straight out of Arkham. I love that sort of combat. But also for opening
You know,
fights,
yeah.
oh, for fuck's sake, fuck off.
I'm sorry. Just keep going.
I am talking, alright. So anyway, the opening fight scene where it establishes how like he's just like a total fucking tank of a man. Just how like how it just sets the tone for how he fights. And like it's hard to put into words, especially
What
after
I actually really
all that.
liked about that scene though is how Batman actually gets hit a few times, where it's like
Yeah,
he isn't like superhuman in his reflexes. Like he's not Daredevil. He doesn't have heightened
Yeah,
reflexes.
he's not me. Like he's not me.
Yeah,
so
obviously,
you
yeah.
can't just tank stuff
CV,
like that.
yeah, CV has a third eye in the back of his head,
He's
which
not
Batman
Zack
doesn't.
Snyder.
He's not sexy, but yeah, like I really like that he was actually getting hit. Like it didn't hurt him like a lot or whatever, but I do like how he sometimes like getting shot or he gets hit with a fucking crowbar, and it's like there's not really any way he could have dodged that, and I like that they actually got that, and it's like yeah, he can actually get hit.
I think with
and not isn't perfect in how he fights. Like, you know, yeah, you get what I mean.
with a scene
Also-
with Batman, especially the type of action they were going for, or not really, but like in theory, the type of action we have, it's very easy to just make Batman this just unstoppable force that never gets hit.
That meets
And
an
I'm really
immovable
glad
object.
they didn't
Yeah.
do that.
Again,
Yeah,
that's
I
why I
kind of-
like the end fight because, well, like when he shows up, like it's the most fucking awesome fucking scene ever. But then, like when he takes a shotgun blast to the chest and it completely knocks him out,
Mhm.
like it's like it
Yeah.
shows that he's the goddamn Batman, but also that he's a man.
Yeah.
He can still fuck up and get shot. But also, again, it's hard to pick for them all because like I love them all, but from like a sheer sort of like action scene level,
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck just happened, but alright.
it's the car chase because like the build up to it, how like he gets knocked out and like and like you're wondering like, oh, where's Penguin gonna find him? Then like you just fucking hear the engine start up and like the whole sort of build up and suspense of it, and like it's all just comes together in such a great and tense and like
Oh yeah,
Wait,
the tension building in this film was really fucking good. Like just
Yeah,
genuinely
again,
really impressive.
incredible.
Felt like a
Yeah,
kind of
genuinely-
A24 horror film shit.
Yeah, generally the bomb scene, I knew what was gonna happen because in the trailer they show the guy's head getting blown off, but I was on the edge of my seat the whole time because I was just waiting for it to go off. I was like, shit, just happen, just happen, just happen. Like I was on the edge.
I actually, yeah. I think you bring up a good point with that because I think initially it doesn't really resonate like how much they showed, but like once you realize the context for every scene, they did show quite a bit. But on first watch, I don't think you can really tell. Like I'd seen obviously that trailer multiple times, but I never pieced together that scene of Batman flying with the explosion in front of him was from the scene with Gil.
Mhm.
So I think they were kind of
Right.
clever with that in the way they
I-
showed certain scenes in the trailers.
This is actually a movie that I would encourage other people not to watch a trailer for because I think it excels at basically creating tension and creating new situations and environments for Batman. Like I had only seen each trailer like once or twice, like when they came out, so I was pretty fresh going in terms of the amount of content that I actually consumed. And I think the movie really benefited from that. And I know you can probably make that argument for any movie, like, oh, if you don't watch the trailers, then everything's going to seem new. But at the same time, some movies really do just benefit from having zero
Yeah.
information going in. And this is one
Yeah,
of them.
I'm the same boat as you. I watched it a few times and watched it most, and then after watching the film, I had shared a Batman video for someone, and as I was editing, I was like, holy shit, these trailers show so much, and it's like I'm glad I didn't like rewatch them over and over because there's just a lot that would have been spoiled.
Oh, I watched them over and over again. I watched each trailer at least 50 times.
That's,
But,
that's why I
yeah.
envy my mum and dad.
This
who
is
are
why
sort of-
you are maidenless.
Exactly.
I also
Yes.
want to add a fight scene that I really love because I didn't mention it. I really love when he just walked into the club. It just he
Yeah,
beats the shit
That's
out
exactly
of him
what I was gonna
with the
say.
baseball bat scene. That went so fucking hard. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that wasn't even like a very consequential action scene because he like the penguin is just behind him and goes like, "Oh, I'm literally here."
Take it
Anyway,
easy,
like it doesn't really
sweetheart.
matter. But like the choreography is really good. It's actually refreshing to, have actual good fight scenes where they're not just like holding back. It's like multiple people attacking at once and stuff. It's like
Oh yeah,
actually-
I don't think I ever noticed a moment where like a character was waiting to attack the Batman. It was just like
Yeah.
stopping in the background, which you can
Yeah,
see.
like,
I noticed
Even
one.
though like the warehouse scene in Batman v Superman is like classed as a really good action scene, there are moments of just like certain thugs who are just like I need to rewatch it. Obviously, I might be completely wrong, but there are moments of like certain people who haven't even been knocked out. They're just like when they're off screen, they're like out of the movie until Zack Snyder needs them again. But in this, it's like I said Zack Snyder in an unironic way, and you're laughing. Nothing's funny
It
about
was
Zack Snyder.
funny.
He's the Alfred Hitchcock of our time. You can't laugh at that man.
Next.
No. We're not gonna get back into it. Brit, finish your point.
All I was saying is that with this, it's like all of the players are still in
Zack Snyder.
on the board. Shut
Yeah.
up. Oh my God. You're such a nonce.
But you mentioned Shandy. Do you actually notice a moment where a character was like just
Yeah,
attacking?
it was in the first fight scene by the train station.
Oh, I
as soon as
felt like that
Batman
was
got to
more
advantage-
warranted because they are like super scared of the Batman and they're just kind of like waiting for like, oh shit, I'm not gonna fight until I actually have to.
Sure, but I mean, there is a point where they kind of like circle around him and he fights like three people in front of him and the other guys are just hanging back. I feel like in a situation like that, when you've got a person surrounded and they like pose a significant threat, you would want to get rid of him as soon as possible, so they would most likely jump him. That one I was a little bit iffy on.
I will need to pay attention on my next watch, but I don't remember taking issue with it, but that might be true. I will keep that in mind.
Another one that I was having issues with was actually the end fight scene with the Riddler goons because a few of them were kind of just hanging back from what I can recall from memory. Especially the dude that you find out later that he's got a double barrel shotgun and he like doesn't use it until like the very last.
Well, I think a lot of them were just like, holy shit, we're actually fighting the Batman, and they're all inspired by the Batman, by
Yeah.
the Sinch Riddler's
I
words.
can definitely
So
see like
yeah,
definitely see a reasoning for why they do that, but at the same time, it was something that I noticed. I've only seen the movie once, so I'd need to watch it again, maybe even have it on me so I can go frame by frame, scene by scene, like I usually do.
From memory, though, and this is once again from memory, I've only seen it once, but isn't there like a guy who has the shotgun, and before he can fight that Batman, he like gets knocked out, and then there's a guy who gets knocked down and crawls over to it and shoots him. Oh my, like misremembering.
Potentially. Again,
I'm
I'm
not sure what you're
working off
saying.
of-
I'm saying
working off
that
of-
I think it's acceptable that he wasn't immediately blasted by the shotgun because there was a guy, as from memory, there was a guy who already had it. And he got knocked out, and then someone else crawled over and shot him.
I think that might be true. Yeah, not sure, but I
Yeah.
think maybe.
I mean, I'll rewatching it tomorrow, so like, if I remember, I'll say if that's true or not. But from memory, that's what I remember.
Yeah, but it's like even if these are issues, it's like very, very, very few and far between. So it's like
Yeah,
the action scenes
there's
really
there's
hold it.
significantly more about this movie that's worthy of praise than there is of not that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, even if they are, because I mean that's just something I've come to expect more and more from movies, especially action movies. That's that there are going to be faults in the choreography because at the end of the day, you're not making a realistic fight scene. You're trying to portray one as close as you can, but obviously it's choreography is involved. Obviously, these are actors. They aren't literally trying to kill the main character as efficiently as possible. So as long as you can take that suspension of disbelief and go along with it, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think there are definitely few concessions you gotta make to like movie action scenes as compared to
Yeah.
what you would expect
Obviously
it to be.
not everything gets away with that, if there's something that is outlandishly retarded, like character using a bladed weapon at like the last second, then obviously you can point that out and go, hey, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You need to account for that. But I feel like it's not always going to be a problem. Like you can point it out, but it's something that you can just go, I accept it for what it is. I'm not gonna be too fussed.
Yeah, it's like if you these instances, especially like in the Batman, are they're so small or so rare that you just kind of go like, yeah, well, they are issues, but they're just way too small to actually affect like the overall film.
Yeah,
just
pretty
kind of
much.
like yeah. So I can kind of see that, but yeah, I don't know. The action scenes were really good. I didn't actually say what my favorite was, so there's that. I'm not sure. I love the fucking chase scene, but I feel like the last fight in the third act is actually really just um emotional in what it's trying to portray, and I really like that for it. So I feel just like for the emotional stakes, the last fight might be my favorite. So yeah, because Bruce's arc in this film is really well portrayed, and the last action scene really showcases it extremely well, which I think you all would agree. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson as the Batman. We didn't talk about him much, but Jesus Christ, he was really good. The amount of acting he did, with like really few expressions. So then you have, for example, the scene at the end with the Catwoman, where he leans in to kiss her and he doesn't. It's just like the smallest fucking thing, and you can see him hesitate because he's not used to this kind of affection, but he wants to show it to her. But he's also obviously afraid because he's not used to this kind of thing. It just like so much was said with just the smallest fucking expression of him leaning in to kiss her and then hesitating and then just leaving it at that. Like just so much you can get from his acting, which I was very happy about because Robert Pattinson is such a fantastic actor that hasn't been used in like mainstream stuff yet. So that was really good to see.
I'd say that was probably the most relatable moment from him, and this is actually something that I praised the movie for doing when I first got out. The thing that I like about Bruce and Batman in this movie is that he isn't a relatable guy, and at some points he is kind of a prick.
Mm-hmm.
But you understand why he is like that because he's a very closed off individual who is in a really rough patch of his life. You know, he even says in the opening narration that he has become a creature of the night, completely nocturnal. So you can assume that he spends his days sleeping or interacting very little with people and focuses solely on what he does at night. It's not the standard playboy billionaire that we've become accustomed to in the last few adaptations of this character. He's a very secluded man, and I really like that portrayal of him because it's not something I've seen before, and it makes sense. This is a very emotionally damaged individual. He would definitely keep to himself.
Yeah, that's a thing that
So even
Sorry, go on. I'll make my point later.
Yeah, no, so even though I don't find him relatable, I find him intriguing and I find him captivating because this is not supposed to be a relatable character. I mean, you can relate in his personal struggles, like his love life or his relationship with Alfred. We all have family issues, we all have relationship issues, but his core motivation and his core philosophy is not necessarily something that we can relate to. It might be something that we aspire to um, have um, like his desire to stop crime, his desire to save people, but the way he goes about it is not something that the average person can relate to. We can't relate to the idea of staying up at nights, every night for 2 years fighting bad guys. That's not something we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and
Yeah, and
the
it's
social consequences that come from it is also pretty neat. But
yeah,
I'll stop speaking.
that's a thing that I find that is kind of like completely opposite of what Madvik had criticized in Shang-Chi and Black Widow in his Shang-Chi video. where you have Shang-Chi being this child who was raised for years to just be like this assassin, and to a point where he completely forgot what life was like before his mother died. But when you see him in America, after he becomes 15 and he moves to America, he seems like completely well adjusted. I'm just like, oh, this funny, sociable guy, which is just not what it should be. Or Yelena in Black Widow, who just like completely gets her bearings perfectly, and she's just making jokes throughout the entire film, even though she's just been broken out of like literal brainwashing for like what 30 years of her life. So it's like those films, they just neglect that aspect of a character who hasn't had social contact with, like, socially with anyone properly, just, you know, being completely sociable, which is just not what it should be. But the Batman does the opposite, where it shows that him being raised by Alfred, who's not like very socially, who is very socially inept, and the fact that he just wants to be the Batman. He doesn't actually care about his Bruce Wayne life. He's just completely neglecting that side of his life. Shows that he just would be completely devoid from that social aspect, like you were saying, which I think is like really fucking good as a way of characterizing Bruce.
Because the characterization of Bruce in this movie is something that I would view as a double-edged sword. You've got the isolation, you've got the secluded nature of this character, but then on the flip side, you have this human element of Bruce that isn't as frequently established and used in other uses of the character, because human beings are very volatile creatures. We suffer from a lot of emotions. We suffer from a lot of uh, situations that make us more and more secluded, that we might not often admit to.
Mm.
And this is something that this version of Bruce targets, and this version of Bruce focuses on. He brings out that human element that isn't often spoken about and isn't often mentioned, and kind of mellows in it and mixes in it in a very dark kind of way. This is a depressed person. He is obviously not going to be the most approachable, and that's what makes his turn at the end of the movie, when he actually comforts the girl so much better, because we've seen what he's like throughout this entire film. We know that he isn't approachable. We know that he isn't comforting. So the fact that he's capable of giving this comfort to this girl that he's just saved, and he's capable of calming her and relaxing her in order to be taken up by a medi-evac, it's kind of touching,
Yeah.
because this this is not something that you would expect from this character. It shows growth in his development. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I feel like it's a more subtle version of what you'd see from a James Gunn character, because James Gunn likes to do these like over the top kind of like caricatures and then give him depth. And so you have like Peacemaker being the type of
Drax.
character who doesn't understand like social, oh yeah, Drax, that's perfect. He doesn't understand social cues at all. Doesn't understand irony and shit like that. But then when you get to a point where he actually starts to understand, it's like touching, because it's like you wouldn't expect that from him, and it's the same from what you're seeing with Batman.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
It's a
something else that
form
I
of
forgot.
purity that you don't see in a lot of other characters like Tony Stark or Captain America.
Yeah,
or
because you see these other
Spider-Man.
characters who are just very socially, like, they're
They're more
fine
or less well
socially.
adjusted.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then with like a few flaws. Whereas with the Batman, he's like completely flawed, and then you find like a few glimpses of him moving on from that, which is what is so touching, as you said.
It kind of. I probably shouldn't have used Spider-Man as an example here, because Spider-Man does fit the same sort of niche that the Batman fills in that kind of department, because of the way that the character works. I was thinking more along the lines of MCU Spider-Man, which is a fucking goofball a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's not very relatable. But then I thought of, Andrew Garfield in TASM 1, when he's picking a kid out of a burning car, giving him his mask, stuff that he does in TASM 2, and the inspiration that he gives to the city. And then I was also thinking about Toby and in Spider-Man 2, just the stuff that he does in that movie, because he's and I should know this because I spent so much fucking time talking about it, but he is a social outcast. He's a goofball, inept at communication. But something that I didn't really give enough credit is the moments where he is capable of talking to other people, or where he is capable of comforting the little girl that he saves from the burning building.
Mhm.
It's these moments that really stand out to a lot of people because we know what he's like usually. So to see him perform these extraordinary acts of bravery, it 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 contradicts the character that we've been shown so far, and it makes us realize, oh, this person is actually a hero. He is actually a person trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And
Which
I think that,
sorry, go on.
yeah, I was just gonna say that I think that the Batman reintroduces that element um of that kind of character philosophy where they aren't the most socially approachable person,
Mhm.
but they're also capable of doing these amazing acts of bravery and of humanity, essentially.
Yeah, the example I was gonna use is of Daisy in Agents of Shield, and how she starts
Yes.
off that way,
Yes.
and then that's her arc in season 1 for her to learn from Coulson, and Coulson learns from her as well, and then that's an arc that takes like the entire show for her to overcome, of like not letting herself be loved because of how she feels like she's so broken, and so she doesn't let herself like help people. And then you just watch the ending of season 3, so like when she tries to go back to Hive, it's that kind of moment where it's like it really shows how much she doesn't value herself. But then when you have like her final conversation with Lincoln, I feel like that just kind of shows like that side of, the reason why you're doing this is to save people, and not just because you'd feel like giving your life for something that's valuable is gonna make it valuable. It's just, no, you're doing this because people need help, and you're the one who can provide that help, which I feel like is kind of same thing as Batman.
Same
Yeah,
for Agent May to an extent.
Season 3 was very heavily focused on the idea of helping out other people and not so much yourself, even going so far as introducing a character in like the very first episode that kind of was like the bedrock of that theme of people tending to help others and not themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, season three is good.
Season 3 is
Season 3 is
amazing.
good.
But what did you say, John?
That's also Agent May to an extent.
Oh yeah, Agent May is extremely like just closed off and somewhat socially inept in that way, but you can see her moments of giving affection, or like the rare moments where you're like, oh man, May is, it's a really great person. She just has a lot going on from her because of Bahrain. So yeah, I would agree with that. So basically, these shows have good characters, and that is the main conclusion here. These shows,
Yeah.
films, whatever.
Besides Guardians 2 and maybe Avengers 1, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the best mainstream Marvel content.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will top that list.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I wouldn't say it's better than Guardians 2, but it's definitely like best MCU content other than that. Plus, Fitz is the best MCU character because he's Fitz. So.
Oh, Fitz is beautiful. I love that man. Love him to pieces.
Yes, very best.
Him and Mac are just
Their
Mac
friendship
made
is
me
amazing.
cry, man.
Yeah.
Mac made me cry. Like
Fit-
I wasn't expecting that kind of like emotional.
Mac is gonna make you
I
cry in
wouldn't say
season 4 as well, I'm certain.
I wouldn't say
Yes.
insecurity, but he caught me off guard, and I
Mhm.
was not expecting that from him. Hunter used to be my favorite character. Obviously, that's changed now.
Fitz for me, it's like in my top 3 characters in all of media.
Yeah. He's really up there. He's fantastic.
You'll learn in the next 2 seasons why.
I mean, not even just the next 2 seasons, it's just until the end. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is really good, but I was gonna say is that we'll probably, once 10 finishes it, which shouldn't take long because she's already in season 7, but who knows, she's taking a while. When she finishes watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we should do a stream where we talk about it, because there's a lot to talk about that show. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone that we've recommended it to has been positive on it.
yeah, it's extremely
Not
underrated.
me. I hate it.
Oh yeah, you have watched all of it, right,
I
CV?
can't
5
wait
times?
for a certain group of people to watch the show and then go, "Oh, this is actually really bad," just because we disagreed with them on some sort of stupid fucking topic.
I
Gonna
I
happen.
do
You
expect that,
know
to be
it's
honest.
happening. You know
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
it's like Ages of Shield. I remember first meeting Sky through that, and it was just like we're the only two people in existence that ever speak of it.
Yeah.
Such a
We actually
hidden gem.
we became friends because we started talking about Agents of Shield under a Southpaw tweet. We just talked about it and decided, yo, let's talk more. And because it's just like there's so much to go off of in terms of not only the commentary that it does with like Inhumans and shit like that, but just the characters. They're so fucking deep, and it's like 7 seasons of exploration of these characters in like the most in-depth ways, and unexpected even, because there's so many like character interactions that you wouldn't expect to have, but that build the like their depth in like ways that you find just like insanely valuable. I know. I really love that show.
The
I
final.
met Sky when Sky said that Spider-Verse is better than Spider-Man 2.
She's correct.
Well, that was.
I mean,
now that seems like such a cold take, but at the time it's probably like, oh my god.
see,
I would even say
See,
back
I
then
was-
it wasn't really that much of a hot take. I mean, Spider-Verse has always been like wildly regarded as fucking amazing by anyone who's seen it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
But back then, the hot take came out about
even,
Spider-Verse.
even when
so-
I was debating Southpaw, I was like, oh no, if I didn't say Spider-Man 2 was the best, then Into Spider-Verse easily takes that spot. Like even me back then, like
To-
Spider-Verse was fucking great, man.
Yeah.
to this day, I can't comprehend just being in bed having a bacon sandwich and then I just destroy an entire act of Spider-Man 2, and then I did it
That
again
was
for
funny.
Civil War.
Yeah. It's like bringing up the one issue that destroys the films the most. Just Jeb just randomly doing that. He did that
Wait,
twice.
Jeb, what do you mean? Are you taking credit for the destruction of an entire third of a film? I thought we were supposed to give that credit to the one-man slaughter machine.
Wow. Oh man. Unless he's got multiple personality disorder, and I'm one of them.
We're all just personalities of a seriously ill man or woman.
We are
Could be a
actually
woman. We
we
don't
are
know.
living in Moon Knight. We are living in Moon Knight.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what's happening.
I'm not looking forward to Moon Knight. I've seen the
I
trailers
actually
and
am.
I'm just so unimpressed.
I'm actually
I'm-
kind of excited. But it's the
I
kind of
don't
thing
know
where
what
I'm
to
like,
think.
Bored. I'm
I
so
like
fucking bored.
everything like surrounding it, but the actual like writing is what I'm worried about. But like,
I was
Oscar Isaac is
interested in
amazing
seeing
casting.
I was interested in seeing which version of Moon Knight they were gonna like pull from, and then I watched the trailer and I'm like, what I've never seen this. Like, what are they pulling
My
from?
worry with it is it's going to have like the one division effect, where it's going to start off relatively good and then it's just going to devolve into like absolute.
I mean, there's so much evidence to support the fact that Disney cannot handle grim material, like at fucking all.
Exactly.
oh, it's the kind of thing where I think like if you had Noah Hawley and he wrote and directed a lot of them, Legion. He created Legion. If you had him write Moon Knight, it's like this is an instant like fantastic show. But then you have the writers that Disney actually hires to work on their shit. It's like I have not impressed with a lot of their like resumes. They haven't done a lot of good stuff. But I don't know why Disney keeps hiring these kinds of people.
I need to get back into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I remember kind of falling off it when it was out because I was the biggest fan of the Inhuman storyline that show's going into the time. Highly recommend rewatching it, especially how the Inhuman storyline goes. It's like Kevin Feige abandoned that Inhuman storyline for the Inhumans that flopped, and to this day still hasn't done Inhumans. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the only successful thing to do Inhumans. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Remember when Inhumans was supposed to be like this big Phase 3 movie?
And turned out
Yeah,
into this TV show that was canceled after like 6 episodes that nobody watched and was like the worst thing.
It literally,
Yeah.
as soon as the Inhumans plans changed, that's when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of went into its own direction.
Yeah,
what
because it was
supposed to happen-
2017, right? So that it came out. So
Yeah,
yeah, it would have been around that time. Which is as well
was-
is like because Joss Whedon leaving the show, it just kind of like the show and the MCU was always just like it really just not gonna care about tying in with the films anymore like they did with Age of Ultron, which was for the better because the show only got better from there.
yeah, because it was meant to have the Inhumans in the show be in the films, and those two connect.
Yeah. Which would have been interesting to
Think-
see
I mean,
Daisy in the films, but I'm very glad we didn't have that, considering how the films went.
Same.
Agents of Shield managed to do something considerably impressive for me in a simple line. It improved Civil War dramatically by
The
fucking
Accords thing.
retconning how the
Yeah.
Accords work. Yeah.
They made the Accords so much better.
And it was literally just a line from Talbot saying, "Oh no, we're just going to document them and analyze their threat level so that we can respond to them if they go out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't going to be made public information, and this is going to be a highly secure government document." I was like, "Yes, that
Yes.
sounds fucking amazing. That
That
sounds
does
great."
sound like something you would do as after the events of Age of Ultron. That does make sense, especially as well, because I don't know if that was brought up yet, because that is something that is brought up at least in season 4 quite a few times. That after Age of Ultron as well, the Sokovia Accords also limit what you can create in terms of AI, and that all has to be regulated by the government. Because, well, Tony Stark creating the Ultron as an AI is what caused Age of Ultron to happen. So it's like that
It
also
also
makes
makes
perfect
sense why. Yeah, it also makes sense why Coulson would be opposed to that because he's recently been fighting Hydra, who took advantage of the Index that had access to superpowered beings all around the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that this kind of information shouldn't be made accessible to anyone because it's going to harm more people than it helps.
Yes.
It's like, yes,
You'll really
Everyone
enjoy
has-
how. I was gonna
everyone
say
has their reasons.
you really enjoy how season 4 handles the Civil War stuff. It does Civil War so much better than Civil War.
Fucking X-Men 3 handles Civil War better. I'm not even joking. This is probably going to be my hot take of the year. X-Men 3 is better than Civil War. I'm fucking dying on that hill. Seriously, man. I watched it recently with a friend and I'm like, oh my god, there's some tism in here, but fucking hell does it handle ideas so much better. Fuck me. And there's reasons for why everyone believes the things that they do. There's no fucking reason why T'Challa sides with Tony other than I just want to kill Bucky.
Mhm.
Like literally everyone on Tony's team would be like, Tony, you're a fucking idiot.
No, it's
Except
this
maybe
Black
Vision.
Widow especially. I'm like, why the fuck are you on his side?
Well,
It's-
we know the reason why he's on her side, so that she could fight Clint.
Yeah.
So that we
they,
could have the fucking line.
they care way,
not
they care way
going
more about
all
like
back.
matchups being interesting than like stuff making sense. I did really like the clips I've seen of Robbie Ray as Ghost Rider from the show. It seemed really cool. He is phenomenal. He's like in I guess 10 episodes of the show, but around that, but he's like one of the best side characters in the show. I wouldn't say the best. I'd say the best is Talbot. I think Jeb
Oh,
and
Talbot's
she
great.
would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Talbot becomes 10 out of 10.
Yeah. As yeah. Tin already knows that, as Zod has always watched that, and Jeb. But Shandy, once you get to season 5, Talbot is going to be really interesting. So you should look forward to that because that's really good. But
Good.
Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider is really fucking awesome, and it's like they play to the cool factor, but it never feels like it's forced because the shit he does is just like it like makes complete sense with how nobody understands what he is as the show goes on because he's like from another fucking dimension, like trying to get this fucking book that has like these magical properties to not fuck up the world. So yeah.
Ghost Rider's entrance is one of the best entrances for a character I've seen.
Yeah. The only bad thing is the CGI in that scene, but yeah.
I'm just like, I take that. It's up there with the Punisher's entrance for me.
Yeah. The scene where fuck, I don't want to spoil it for Shandy, but you notice the scene later in the season, where with the what is it, Hellfire is the name of that character?
I know what scene you're on about already.
Yeah. That is the coolest scene I've ever seen in like pretty much anything. That is like the best way they could have done it. Because yeah. I don't want to spoil much, but you know how Shandy, you know that Australian dude that wanted to have powers, who Hive recruited.
Yep.
Yeah. So he has that fucking chain, right? That he fights some guys in an alley, in season 3, and it's kind of like, oh, this is what they're doing for Ghost Rider. but then season 4 pretty much ups that, and it is really cool. So yeah, just keep that scene in mind because it is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically,
I just love all this Batman discussion.
yeah. I mean, it did
Agents-
when it go into Agents of Shield, but it's like it's fair. Should go do
It's
that.
Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
It has, and like its ending, it's one of the best show endings in media.
Yeah, the finale is basically perfect.
Agents of
I'm
Snyder.
basically perfect.
Agents of Snipe.
Imagine Snyder cut Zack Snyder's Agents of Shield. That would have been funny.
I can't even remember what we were talking about before we went on this detour.
You said about the Batman being Bruce being a character that is very socially inept, but by the end you can see how him showing affection to that woman is like a really touching moment.
Oh yeah.
So
We didn't really touch on Jim Gordon like at all.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he's at the best
Yeah.
Jim Gordon.
He black.
I love him so.
Wow,
Okay.
that is all you have to racism.
I
Wow.
really like this Jim Gordon. He has a great dynamic with Batman,
Mhm.
especially in the police
Yeah, that scene.
era.
Like that one scene. Of course, the only scene with Jim Gordon in it.
Yes, there's only one scene with Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
Punch in the face.
No, but generally, Jim Gordon is really good, but it's like I don't think he's like that deep of a character, so that's probably why we haven't mentioned him much. But he is really good.
I think their plans was not to have much of Jim Gordon in this and explore in that Gotham prequel,
Mhm.
but plans seem to have changed since.
Yeah, I imagine he's probably gonna be a bigger presence in the second film when they're kind of like changing the entire structure of how the city works because of how the commissioner died, and now there's fucking they're gonna need to get a new DA, and they already have a new mayor. So yeah,
It's basically
They need a new
Two-Face.
DA.
yeah, it's gonna be Harvey. Yeah, that's what I really want them to do, to introduce Harvey and actually develop him, and then in the third film you actually have him be Two-Face.
I would actually really like that
Yeah.
if they don't do him as Two-Face in the next movie. They just have Harvey.
Yeah. Yeah, I really want him to just like kind of get wore out. Guess that's the word. Where it's like it's trying to fight crime, but it's just becomes more hopeless as time goes on because of how fucking fucked up Gotham is. And then by the end, that's when you have him like the inciting incident of what becoming the Two-Face is, and then by the third film, you actually have him be Two-Face, but develop him into Two-Face and not just have him completely turn and be like, yes, chance is the only fair thing that there is, because that makes perfect sense. I really don't like Two-Face in Dark Knight. I really don't. Like Aaron Eckhart, fantastic actor.
I love
Jesus
him.
Christ.
I love his character. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, especially when he
really
didn't
giving
kill
him-
his fiance's killer, because yeah, that was an awesome scene.
Yeah, well, see, what they're going for is like they're going for like the humanity approach, and like
the
even
Zack
though
Snyder
he's
approach, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder
yeah,
approach.
this-
Harvey was humanized.
Oh yeah.
he was basically like the opposite of Zack Snyder's Batman, while also being Zack Snyder's
Exactly.
Superman, but
Zack
not.
Snyder, they call
That
Zack
makes
Snyder the
sense.
contrast cutter. Because he's
Basically,
good at
they-
contrast. Yeah.
They kind of contrasted him
Tell me
with
what
Zack
Batman
Snyder.
fucking Zack Snyder again. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, let's
move
please
on.
not go into Zack Snyder again.
Well,
Um,
I'm gonna head out now anyway, so
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Brit.
Like card gaming.
I'm not thankful for coming on. I think we could have probably touched on Zack Snyder a bit more.
Oh yeah,
I
next
will-
time. No worry.
Yeah. I really like cars.
Is that gonna be the last thing you say? Yeah, it is. Brit's channel is in the description. He made a good video on Us if you want to check it out. It is really good. It's very funny. So go watch that.
Us as an ECUM?
No, Us is in the film Us from Jordan Peele.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a very
Brit did
bad
not make a
influence
video
by
on
Zack
ECUM.
Snyder.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's loads of material for you.
I'm gonna make a video on ECUM one day.
ECUM and Unbridled
Please.
Praise, 12 hours long.
An unbridled man.
ECUM and Unbridled Rampage.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So anyway,
You'll see
thanks.
me-
Exhibit A. They are leftist.
Oh yes, 100%. So anyway, Brit, thanks for coming on. Been fun.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you, Brit.
We love you
See
too.
you.
Watch Fantastic Beasts with me, please.
Yeah, we'll do that before the third one comes out. Hopefully, yeah.
Sweet.
Stevie, I love you.
Bye.
Back to
Goodbye.
sex.
I love you too.
I don't care about the other
Goodbye.
ones.
Goodbye, anonymous hacker.
All right. Well, yeah. So Gordon, he's good. I don't know. It's because like Jeb did want you to like bring up Gordon, but I was like, I don't really have much to say about Gordon. It's like I like Jeffrey Wright since he's really good in the role. But there's not much I can say.
To defend,
Would you say he's the best Gordon?
I don't know yet.
Depends. I don't remember how good Gordon was before the Batman Begins. I don't remember how big of a role he had in those films. 'Cause I haven't seen them in like 10 years. But I don't think Gordon is good at all in the Dark Knight trilogy. I'd say he's at his best in Batman Begins, but either way, he's not great. Like when he's just happy that Batman ran over 2 cop cars, I'm like, that does not seem like Jim Gordon.
Gotta get me one of those.
Yeah.
But hold on. To be fair, I watched that movie recently with a friend. Jim Gordon doesn't actually see him driving over a cop car because Batman turns out of an alleyway and then drives into a direction that Jim Gordon can't actually see. So,
That's better then. Yeah, so
Yep.
I'd say he's at his best in that trilogy in Batman Begins then, but I
The
need to watch it.
the issue with grading Gordon based on this is he hasn't got much material, so you can't get a full understanding of his character. You get enough to work with where you can have a baseline, but I think if we wait till the sequel where they explore him further, then I could be like, hey, he seems to be better than this version.
Yeah. Just quickly repeat what you said since you praised the music sky. Oh yeah, so what I was talking about 3 hours ago, Madvocate. And just catch you up perfectly. No, but yeah, I don't know. The thing with Gordon is like I get what they're going for. It's like this good guy in this like completely corrupt system who is even turning against his friends just to actually do the right thing and try to help the city that he protects. But it's like that's good, but we need to see more development on that. And yeah, I mean, the best Gordon I've seen like media just in general is in Arkham Knight because I really like what they do with him and the shit with Barbara. So I don't know.
The best Gordon I've seen is in Batman: The Killing Joke, the movie.
I've heard that film is terrible, so I imagine that is a joke.
I really like what they did with all the decisions made in that movie.
You get
I'm inclined to not
Yes.
take CV seriously right now.
You shouldn't.
I'm curious to watch that film, but I'm like, I really like the comic. I don't want to ruin it by watching the film.
The comic is very good. I
Yeah.
don't
like I've heard the
Don't.
film isn't that good as like an animation adaptation of it. Like I've heard like they even change around the dialogue for some of the scenes for just no reason.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too, which is weird to me
Like,
because the dialogue in the comic is great.
I think it's
They
the
also
whole
added in a sex scene between Barbara Gordon and Batman for literally no reason.
Did they
Yeah.
actually?
one gripe I
Well,
have.
that's what I was talking about with the certain decisions. I thought you knew what I was talking
No,
about.
I have no clue what the fuck you're saying, CVA. I haven't seen the film.
I thought you knew about this. This is like infamous.
No, I don't.
Like,
You're
like,
not
It
a
literally
Batman
comes out
fan.
of
Oh
fucking
yeah, I'm
nowhere.
sorry. I haven't
And
seen the
just
film that
after
everyone
she-
says is bad.
Just after she does the protruding of her, whatever the analogy I was going to make there. After she does that, she then gets shot by Joker, had her pictures taken while she's naked, and I'm pretty certain he rapes her too.
Yes.
Okay, why?
no, I was just thinking how like
Fuck with Batman.
doesn't seem that good. I was thinking, like because you know the infamous panel like after Joker falls in a vat of acid and like he just looks at his reflection and just goes mad. Like in the comic, like it's just full of ha ha ha's and it's like all purple and that. But in the film, it's grey. It's grey and brown.
Oh,
It
that's
just looks
fine.
underwhelming.
But yeah, it doesn't also the Killing Joke. I remember the comic that they had this really cool like the flashbacks being all black and white with the red outlines for shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool decision. Did they keep that for the animation?
No, it's just grey-ish.
If Zack
Yeah.
Snyder had done the Killing Joke, he would have stuck
Yeah,
true
I
to the
agree.
grey.
It would have just all
See,
been black
he's
and
made
white.
movies. He's made movies on his phone. I don't see why he couldn't have just shot an animated movie on his phone as well.
Didn't he actually make an animated film like what's it called?
Yeah, the owl film.
Yeah, he made
Yeah,
Legend of the Guardians or something.
Legend. Is that it?
Yeah,
The
It was like
the
it was
owl
something like
film.
that.
He made Kung Fu Panda 2.
oh yeah, it definitely did. Oh yeah, The Owls of Gahul. Yeah, it's
Legend of
that's
the
the one.
Guardians.
Yeah,
Legend
yeah.
of the
Director
Guardians,
Zack
starring
Snyder. It's like
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving.
52% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
Interesting.
that must be an amazing film. Not that Rotten Tomatoes is actually a gauge for it, but it's Zack Snyder, so. But yeah,
I do think it's interesting. I
Mm.
do think it's interesting that the Batman has like a 85 on there.
that's lower than a lot of films. Like, isn't it
mean,
lower
like,
than
well,
fucking? Isn't it lower than like Cuties?
That's
think it's-
lower than the Dark
movie
Knight
would not
Rises.
be fun enough. They would. I mean, you've seen. I don't know if you guys have seen a lot of the stuff that's going on Twitter, but there's been people who say that this movie is bad because it's nowhere near as fun as a Marvel movie. It has no jokes, has no.
Which is
silly
untrue, by the way.
moments,
The
it's not-
film does have a few
not good.
jokes.
Yeah.
I hate it when people say, "Oh, the
So-
film is all dour," and it's like, but Gordon made a few jokes, and
Okay, so-
Penguin is like a fucking caricature.
The entire Spanish scene is hilarious.
Yeah, I don't.
So
Yeah,
here's the
that was
thing.
really funny.
Like honestly,
thing, I
one
would
thing is
actually-
how it's how Spanish to, but it's like, do you guys even know how to read?
I would actually like to make a distinction between what the Batman does and what Marvel does. What Marvel does is very clearly intended to be jokes in the sense that
Yeah.
it's supposed to, break away from whatever the plot's going on for. In the Batman, it doesn't come across like it's supposed to be a joke. It just comes across as character interactions and character behaviors that make sense. Like the Penguin doesn't take Batman seriously in that scene, so when he finds out that the Batman makes a mistake, he's going to make fun of him for it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come across as a joke necessarily, it just comes across as Penguin taking the piss out of Batman, which is funny because the Penguin is being hilarious in that scene. Same with when Batman says you have a lot of cats when he first meets Catwoman, or when I remember Jim Gordon saying something during the prison.
Well, there's the scene where Batman punches him, and then when they meet, he's like, "You could have held back the punch," and Batman's like, "I did,"
Yeah.
which I think is really funny.
Yeah.
And then when they're in the cell, he's like, "We gotta get you out of here."
Oh yeah, just the way they're talking
my-
inside the cell, that's hilarious.
I'd say that was the
Whispering.
funniest thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Magic
who's
reminded
on
me
the
of
They're
stage?
like making making faces at each other, like they're about to like they're intimidating.
Yeah, but they're actually just
playing,
like, "You bleeding, you get out." It's great.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I was
think the
gonna actually
Batman is, like, a great example.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Batman is like a great example of like natural humor, like more so what you'd find in like how people talk and be funny in real life, rather than like writers going out of their way to insert comedy.
Yeah, but one thing that I was actually gonna mention, because Shandy was talking about Marvel humor, is what Madvick also brought up in chat, which is the flight attendant in Shang-Chi, where it literally exists because the scene was too dour and they needed a joke. Because he was like talking about how he was raised to be an assassin by his dad, and then he gets cut off by a fucking flight attendant to be like, "Yo, do you want the fucking steak or the vegetarian?" That joke goes on for like
I
a
love that
minute and
scene.
20 seconds.
It
or
was so
something like
funny.
that. Yeah.
It was so funny. I
Mhm.
love that.
No, it's literally the best joke ever told in history. So, yeah.
Versus the Batman, where it's not afraid to go for long periods of time without a single joke.
Yeah.
Because this movie
Yeah.
takes itself very seriously and it's sorting itself out with some very serious subject matter. And that's why when I first watched the movie, I didn't consider there to be any jokes in the film because I was comparing this from a Marvel standpoint
Yeah.
and I was praising the movie for it because it didn't have the unnecessary flight attendant, would you like steak joke. It
Mhm.
didn't have the any of the shit from fucking Avengers Infinity War or from Endgame that were just completely out of left field. It didn't have the Ant-Man and the Wasp level fucking humor. It didn't have any of this bullshit, and I was really happy for that. because I could actually take the movie seriously and I didn't get pulled out of the film for no good reason. If it
Indeed.
was
Yeah,
good,
like
great.
that's
You
that's
knew
really
what
the
tone it was
main
going for.
problem. Yeah, that's really the main problem what Shandy said, because the MCU's humor, it's become so like formulaic to the point where like you can tell this scene, like whatever's about to happen, there's gonna be a joke here, there's gonna be a joke here, and that's really distracting from the overall
Well,
experience.
it's the
and it
kind
really
of thing
kinda takes
where,
you out of it.
like, when you watch the Eternals trailer and there's that "who's gonna lead the Avengers now" joke, it's like, man, that joke is not funny at all. But then when you
And
get
then
to
you
the
watch it in
film,
the actual movie.
yeah, they
Yeah.
actually changed it. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
that's actually really good. It's like a character based.
It's
Yeah.
actually a big reason why I appreciate the Eternals, because it's not a standard Marvel movie. Like, if you didn't tell people that this was a Marvel movie, they probably wouldn't think it was.
Yeah, and it actually fits
so different from-
standalone quite well. Other than the shit regarding the blip of bringing people back, which is admittedly a big part of the film, but you could change that easily to make it fit like on its own universe. But like it does feel like its own thing, very much like the Batman
Yeah.
does. But
Eternal is probably like from a directorial and like tone standpoint, it's like the closest thing to the Batman in the MCU.
I'm finding jokes that are natural and fit the scene. Yeah, that's what we're arguing for. It's like when you see characters, for example, in Guardians of the Galaxy with their jokes, it's like that makes sense because of like their personalities and shit like that. Especially with Rocket and Quill. But you don't have like jokes that kill the tone like you do in Infinity War and especially Endgame. So
Also,
it really
James
depends.
Gunn has actual funny jokes.
There's also that James Gunn knows how to write comedy really well. Like you can see that in fucking Peacemaker. That show was hilarious.
That's the funniest thing he's done, I'd say.
Probably
because
I'd
there's
say.
more episodes and more runtime, but still.
Yeah, but it's actually interesting because I was thinking about for some reason yesterday I just started thinking about the butt baby joke. I was like, man, that was really funny. But then I was thinking more about it. It's like, oh, actually, that's actually like really good that he said that he thought he was a butt baby for a long time because his dad always hated him and he caused his brother's death. So by his own like way of thinking, he's worse than his brother in every way because that's what his father thinks of him. And so him thinking he was a
Yeah.
butt baby for so long, it's like actually that's really character based, not just a throwaway joke. So that's the kind of thing that I really like.
Yeah, it's very nice.
James Gunn's a really good writer, or at least character.
Yeah.
And then you have jokes which make me fucking kill myself laughing, like Fitz comparing a sexual encounter to crossing the
Crossing
event
Event Horizon. That is
It's
Oh
so
my
that's the
God.
best joke in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's hilarious. Oh, that or
so
the
smooth.
Coulson. I really like the Coulson Star Wars reference with Hive, where he's like, "I've always wanted to do
Yes.
this. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." It's hilarious as well.
Yeah,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just a really funny show, which I think
Agents of
goes
S.H.I.E.L.D. is
underappreciated.
great.
Yeah, I
So
think it
good.
goes kind of underappreciated because it has that kind of like Whedon kind of humor, but it's really good.
But it's good Whedon humor. It's not Whedon knockoff humor.
Oh yeah, no, it's
It's actually trying.
yeah, it's because it's like Whedon worked on the show for a season, then there's his fucking brother who worked in the show to the end. It's like these people know how to write that kind of humor really well. Hey, we went back into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Who would have thought?
Especially for Coulson.
Oh yeah, Coulson is hilarious. I really like his observational comedy. Can't think of an example right now, but I do think he's really funny. Mac as well. Oh, never mind. The joke I was gonna make is in season 4, so I can't spoil it.
There's a certain scene where he has great observational comedy, but it is a spoiler. You know, I'll probably message you it, to be honest, because I can't describe it.
Can you just say what season it is?
Not particularly, no. 'Cause
Brit.
that's also a spoiler.
How is it a spoiler? You're saying there's a joke in the season. You just
Yeah,
say that about the
but-
season.
Shut up.
Dumb man. Anyway,
Comedy.
but yeah, comedy in the Batman was actually like refreshing, and I had a few chuckles, and I was never like, oh my god, this is hilarious, I'm laughing my ass off, but there was a few times like chuckling or whatever.
Yeah, there were moments where I cracked a smile.
Yeah, exactly.
oh, yeah.
That's what Jeb described it as well. That he just smiled. It's whenever like fucking laughing a lot. because the
Yeah.
film is
I
taking
actually-
itself very seriously.
I actually thought the Riddler was hilarious. I actually thought the Riddler was really funny, especially
know-
how goofy he got at times.
Well, I
never
never thought it
unders-
was funny because for me it was very much like intimidating with how crazy he was in the same way where Heath Ledger was. Like in the video where Heath Ledger's Joker has that guy tied up and he starts like going crazy, which was a video that Heath Ledger actually recorded. That reminded me a lot of the Riddler video in the third act where you see him just like starting to ramble and he's just like getting. It seems like he's going more
that was
insane.
that
as he
was
talks.
scary.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
man,
was
that's really
scary.
scary.
But, like, there's, like,
His dialogue with Gil Coulson is actually kind of funny and like a dark humor, twisted kind of
Yeah,
way.
that's what I'm talking about. Like he does have that like goofy sense, and like the video they watch in Catwoman's apartment when he's like goodbye, like that was really funny. So
The thing I
enjoyed
thought was
that.
hilarious is that it seemed like the most amateur kind of like editing he made was in the fucking Thomas Wayne video where he just put murderer over mayor. I was like, that's so funny because it's so fucking amateur.
When he's just like hush.
Oh yeah, Hush was also funny. Yeah, which people are saying like, oh, it's most on the nose reference. I'm like, is it really? He's just saying hush. Chill.
It's
like it's a Easter egg, but not
Like,
really.
most,
if
yeah.
you know about Thomas Elliot and like all that stuff, then yeah, the Hush thing is like a nice reference. But like, Hush isn't like a mainstream sort of villain. Like he's not been in that much stuff.
He wasn't
It's
Batwoman
just-
10, so you're just wrong because Batwoman is the best show.
Well, to be fair, my
Slightly-
profile picture does look a lot like Batwoman. Not gonna lie.
We're gonna
Despite me
see-
really liking this movie and really wanting to see more from this director and from Robert Pattinson, I'm worried that this is going to end up being the best Batman movie we're going to have for a while. I'm worried that this franchise is going to start suffering from sequelitis. I hope that they can take the lessons learned from this movie and the positive praise that they've gotten and just kind of like not top themselves, but just continue to keep giving similar levels of quality performances, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
think Matt Reeves is really good at taking that kind of shit and understanding it because you can see from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes people were expecting something completely different than what they got after it. We're expecting something completely different for War, but War was like it follows Dawn really well, but while also like being very different from what people expected it should be. So
Yeah, I think he's really trying to tackle these stories as just one-offs, even though they're connected, and I kind of like that.
yeah, it kind of feels like there's stuff for a sequel, but you can kind of see this film as its own thing. It's like you get the ending of Bruce's arc in this film, and it's a fully fledged. So
Right, like you get character development in this movie. Like even if we don't get a Batman 2, you can look at this movie and say, yeah, I love how this Bruce Wayne changed over the course of this movie. Even though there is room for him to grow a lot more, which is obviously what he's going to do in the sequel. So I do think he said he has a lot of ideas, and I do think he's just going to tackle it the same way, or I hope he's going to tackle it the same way, of just having it be one conclusive story with room for another third part in the trilogy if he wants.
yeah, and like doing the shows, I think gives him a lot of freedom to explore aspects that like are expected to be mainstream. Like I'm saying, like I really want Joker, Barry Keegan's Joker, to be in the show and maybe not ever like show up in the films or just in the third film be the villain instead of actually, and then have a more less mainstream villain for the second film. Because like you can explore these types of characters really well. Because like this version of Riddler is the version I've wanted for a long time. Because I really like Riddler. I think it's a really cool concept. And like as much as Jim Carrey is a great actor and fantastic casting for Riddler, don't think that Riddler is like, the version I want to see. And
he's
Arkham
not
does
really
have a pretty decent Riddler, but it's nothing like fantastic. But this is what I've always wanted. This kind of character who's like, he's inspired by Batman and he is trying to play with Batman to see him getting both to the same goals, and then he realizes that they're wrong, and that he kind of spirals from there, which is why I think it's like he's gonna become like a Joker protege or some kind of shit like that, which is really fucking interesting. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I just think this type of take on the villains, because Batman villains are pretty hard to kind of get down, and so to ground them in reality while still keeping their like the main essence of the characters, I think that's a really cool way to just go about his rogues gallery, and I think this is probably the best version of Riddler because of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely the one that's like has got the most depth as well. So yeah, really good.
Yep.
Which is why I'm like, man, if you do like Two-Face, you could do him so well. Actually exploring the duality of that character and how his kind of develops the other personality or shit like that. It can be really interesting, and actually have like, because by already having Riddler and then Joker by the end, is like these characters definitely have got like a lot of shit regarding like mental health. And if you do Two-Face, you could do a very deep exploration of mental health and mental issues and shit like that, which is I feel is really missing from like mainstream comic book stuff. Because like you do have shit like that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Legion or whatever, but you don't have like in the big kind of shit. You don't have characters like that like just have split personality or whatever, like mainstream stuff.
Yeah. I also think that's part of why I would love to see Reeves do Mr. Freeze, because that is such a it's such a kind of empathetic story, and there is a lot of emotion involved. And I think even here with Riddler, even though he is a fucking psychopath and he wanted to kill people, you can still kind of see, like, there are points where I was like, yeah, he is an orphan. Like, I could see where he was coming from, even though he was going about it the wrong way. And I think that applied to a character like Mr. Freeze, where the whole point is to give a really tragic backstory. I think Reeves could do that so well. Like, he could make some really powerful shit with that. So I really want, even if he does, like, I'd be fine if he doesn't do Mr. Freeze, but like if he does, especially that contrasted with like, especially in this film where you have like it's raining all the time, and you do like a Mr. Freeze story in like the coldest winter Gotham has ever had, where it's just snowing, freezing rain all the time. I think that could be so cool.
That would be amazing. The kind of aesthetic you have in Arkham Origins, because it's set in Christmas as well, so that would be really cool.
Like if this movie was like they really leaned into the red marketing, so then just kind of contrast it and do blue marketing or something. I feel like that could be a really cool aesthetic to have.
You're making me very excited for this sequel that we have no idea how it's going to be, and it's going to take like 5 years for it to come out.
And then the third movie focuses on Joker and Bane, and then it's green marketing.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I could see that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
And I would really like to see this kind of version of Bane, especially with Bruce using that adrenaline shot, which people have been saying is the Venom serum or whatever. That would be interesting as well.
I don't know if I want Joker. Like, I know Reeves would do Joker really well, but I kind of also want him to just kind of do more villains first before going into a Joker.
Well, it's the kind of thing where like I'm not sure how long he's gonna be making shit with Batman, so I want to see Barry Keegan as Joker because that's amazing casting, but I also want to see other villains because I hate seeing the Joker in every single version of the Batman. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope they adapt the chicken soup scene. I'd meet you, Madwick.
They just
I'd be perfectly fine if...
What'd you say, Shen?
I said I hope they just have him drinking chicken soup and not using it as a weapon.
Oh no, yeah, that would be way better, yeah. What were you saying, CV?
No, but like I'd be fine like if he just never made a Batman versus Joker movie. Like I want him to tackle other villains.
Yeah.
Especially like, because Joker, he is a relatively easy character to ground in reality. I want to see him do like just crazy, batshit crazy ones. I want to see him make those characters realistic. That's what I want.
Like Clayface, Mr. Freeze.
Condiment Man.
Condiment Man is the best. What I really
The
like,
mayonnaise is just cum.
for fuck's sake, I forgot what I was gonna say because of the TV. Thanks. Oh yeah, I'd really like to
Just come.
see Zaz in a mainstream adaptation. To see him go against Batman. I think that would be really cool. Probably not a main
Zaz
villain,
would
but I
be-
really would like Zaz.
I mean, we
Oh.
did have Zaz in Batman Begins.
We did? I barely remember that.
He
Yes,
was
we
in one
did.
of the cells in Arkham.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
he was also a defendant for Dr. Crane. Rachel was trying to get him locked up into Arkham or Belle Reve or something like that. He also
could-
threatens a kid with a knife.
I don't
I could
remember
He's
that.
there. He's there.
Right,
there.
but it's like I'm saying, like Zaz is like one of the main villains. I would really like that.
I could really see him doing Scarecrow as well because he just naturally fits the aesthetic.
Well, me too, but
Yeah.
I'm like, the Scarecrow was already in Batman Begins, the main
He's
villain. So
relative.
I would say that he would probably leave
relatively
it alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I like Scarecrow, plus Arkham Knight had also Scarecrow as the main villain. It's like would be kind of overusing it, I guess.
He could do
I
it
could
in the
really see
Asylum
Man-Bat.
show.
Wait, what'd you say, Joe?
I was gonna say, I reckon he'll do it in the Asylum show because it's meant to be a horror house.
Oh,
type
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
I really
I'm
hope he
really
goes for
hoping-
the aesthetic of Serious House and Serious Earth, because like man, I would really love to see that in live action.
I don't know if this will ever happen, but I really hope he can somehow get Mike Flanagan to direct an episode of that show.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's been saying that on Twitter. It's like, man, that would be perfect.
It'd be so amazing, especially if he wants to do because that's what he said. He said Arkham Asylum. He wants to do Asylum as this haunted house,
Mm.
which sounds so cool.
Yeah.
But I think he
Yeah,
could
I was
really
so
do
excited for that fucking
Man-Bat.
idea as a show. I just started replaying Arkham Asylum yesterday. Cause like, man, that is fantastic.
I think Man-Bat could actually work well.
Hmm.
I think he could kind of pull it off. As
I
crazy of an
think-
idea as
I don't think in like the second film, but if he establishes like these kind of like less grounded aspects as like the universe goes on and then shows up in like the last film, I think it could work. Or no, maybe not the last, but like the third film. Like basically not having in the next one. Because like Man-Bat is not exactly a grounded type of a villain, let's say.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting. Haven't really seen like a big Man-Bat adaptation. So
Yeah.
the only thing I
Most of them
remember
were
is
that-
playing Arkham Knight and getting jump scared. That always fucking
Yeah, I remember that. Like I got 3 jump scares in a row because that was the day where I just pushed through it because I was stuck on one bit, and I got the Joker jump scare where he's miss me and that scared the shit out of me. Then you play as Gordon, then Batman walks at you, that scares the shit out of you, and then I got Man-Bat right after that. 14-year-old me fucking died when I played that.
Yeah, no, the
I think
Man-Bat
Sam
jump scare
Collins-
really scares me every time.
I think Sam Collins points out a pretty good idea in chat. I could see Matt Reeves doing a really good version of Black Mask, but not like what we were given in Birds of Prey, which was just Ewan McGregor acting flamboyant. I agree, especially since the Batman sets up that there's going to be a power. Pretty interesting, where we have the rival gang wars that we got in games like Arkham City, Arkham Knight. You know, that type of thing. Especially since Matt Reeves already did so well with introducing Arkham, I mean not Arkham, Gotham as a character in this film. It would be pretty cool to see Batman and the GCPD trying to stop a gang war currently going on in the middle of the city, and you have Black Mask being one of the antagonists that they have to go up against. It would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be good to see
Pretty
like Black
cool.
Mask showing up for the power grab, and you have his gang, and then Penguin's gang going for the power vacuum. That could be interesting.
Another character I actually want to see done better is Killer Croc.
Mm.
I
I'm
wouldn't mind.
not
I
sure
think-
about it for this kind of adaptation.
I
don't know.
think it's a little bit too unrealistic for this version.
Yeah,
Why?
because it's a fucking crocodile man. I don't know. It's like this huge crocodile man. Is I don't see how you could make that as like compelling story for at least Bruce's arc as well, going up against him. Other than
Peace
You could do it in
Isn't-
Arkham
isn't they
Asylum.
making
You
a-
could do it in Arkham Asylum.
yeah, that you could do. Even though
I
it'd be
want to
just
see
copying
Polka
the
Dot Man in
Arkhams.
this universe.
I actually really like that the PD show evolved into Arkham Asylum because it gives him so much more freedom to explore the rogues gallery, especially the more obscure villains. If he
Yeah.
wants to kind of not do those for the movies, if he wants to save more big names for the movies, then you could definitely do it that way. So I really like that they changed that.
Me too.
Because the idea was supposed to be that PD would follow a I think a corrupt cop who's kind of inspired by Batman's actions to become good.
Yeah, and
Which-
I think it was supposed to be set during year one, so it was like an actual
Yeah.
prequel to the Batman.
It was a prequel, so which sounds cool. I don't know how well it could have worked over the course of a series. Like it sounds like a good idea, but you would need quite a bit of content to really fill out the series. So Arkham Asylum, especially if it's like a anthology series where it's like every week just focuses on a different cell member or something, I think that's a much better idea.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of just like. I would like to see like gangs forming inside of Arkham Asylum and shit like that. It's not just like an anthology series, but you see all these villains like how one exploits the other to gain more power inside the asylum and shit like that. I think that could be interesting.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
not like a true anthology series, but like similar to that in the sense that there's this building. Like obviously these shows are being used to fill in the gap between this movie and the sequel. So wherever the sequel picks up up until that point, whatever gang rivalries you want to build up, whatever villains you want to build up, you do that in the background of the show, and then the main I guess topic of each episode is just different aspects of the
Oh yeah, you could
island,
say
just
like
on-
focus. You can kind of do it like the way Hill House structures the show, where you have like focusing on one character for an episode,
Yeah,
and then the other character, and you get like all of them to the same point, and then you have like the finale where it would be these characters and like what happened, like getting everything after it was set up, showing the aftermath of it, being the last episode, being like the climax. So that could work. You say yes but you haven't watched Hill House, have you? Because we only watched
Well-
episode 1.
Yes, that is true.
That has been a long time ago. We should actually watch that show. I will.
We should actually finish it.
Yeah, I'll keep that in
I
mind.
was gonna watch it on my own, but I was like, never mind.
I mean, if you want to, because I'm not sure when I'll have time. But yeah, either way, Hill House is good for the most part, other than the finale. Yeah, but I don't know. I really like the idea of everything that you could do with a horror show set in Arkham. So I'm very excited for that. It's like I really need Barry Keegan to return as Joker for that. It's all I want in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can tell everyone's already fucking tired. So, does anyone have closing thoughts about this film, about this stream?
I guess so. You said this stream, so I actually hate ECUM. It is my least favorite podcast on planet Earth. The main reason being that it was actually created by my Lord and Savior Zack Snyder, and I think it's a big part of why I don't enjoy this podcast, because as much as I love what he did with the DCEU, he just really fumbled the ball when it came to this podcast and the hosts that he chose for it. So yeah.
That's fair.
My minor thought.
The first thing Zod said in like 3 hours.
My final thoughts are Batman good, but Sonic 2 is upcoming, and
If
It's
we
just
can
about
get
the knuckles.
Tin and Zod to watch that, like as soon as it comes out, we will make a stream on it, Jeb, and you'll talk
Don't worry,
about.
I'm definitely seeing it as soon as I can. Yeah.
I will watch it. Don't worry, Jeb. I will watch it.
All
I'm
right.
seeing the day it comes out. I'm going into Sonic Fursuit and everything.
The first.
See, the thing is, I don't even know if Jeb is joking right now, and that scares me.
No, Akara would kill me. I'm not doing it. I'm seeing the day it comes out.
All right, that's fair.
Okay, here are my actual thoughts on the Batman. So I really like this movie. It is my favorite comic book movie of all time. I love what it did for the character, and it was a really rewarding experience to sit in the theater and not be let down by a film that I had extremely high expectations for. Even though I forgot about all of them before watching the movie, it was everybody in the movie was great. I really liked the character writing, and my favorite scene in the movie is the scene with Bruce and Alfred by his bedside, and I think that's really emotional, and it moved me to tears. And I love the ending for this film and how it changes Batman as a character. I think it's really emotional, and I cried again once again. I'm a crybaby.
What a
Fuck
little
you.
bitch.
And I love this movie, and
It's a fucking ice cream truck driving around outside my house.
Those are Shandy's closing thoughts. So yeah. But yeah.
and I also like ice cream trucks, and I also like
Well,
how this movie incorporated ice cream trucks into the
by
overall
not incorporating
narrative.
it, yeah.
And I
Like-
think there's this really cool moment where
Okay,
Bruce is eating
CV.
ice
So
cream.
let me finish the stream. So yeah, thanks
his
everyone
neck
for
is
watching. I'm gonna
dripping
kick you
all
from the
over
fucking
vanilla
call,
ice
CV.
cream,
I swear to
and she's still
fucking
eating
God,
it
you're
despite that.
literally gonna be kicked right now. Okay. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching. It has been
Thanks
fun to
everyone
talk
for
about
watching.
this film that I really
It's
enjoyed.
been fun
You
to
know,
talk about this film. I really enjoyed it.
that we all enjoy actually this film. It is, pretty good. Really good. So I'm glad everyone here enjoyed it as well. And we will come back to you next week where we euthanize Shandy. So yeah, see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Okay.